Considered toss-ups in the 2024 election, along with Pennsylvania, where Harris was at a gathering of black journalists in Philadelphia yesterday.
We came in during the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. We came in during the worst public health epidemic in centuries. We came in after the worst attack on our democracies since the Civil War. And a lot of it due in large part to the mismanagement by the former president.
Now, he and other Republicans think that she and President Biden are partly to blame for him being a target, though both of them condemned political violence after the second Trump assassination attempt.
Well, there's a lot of rhetoric going on. A lot of people think that the Democrats, when they talk about threat to democracy and all of this, and it seems that both of these people were radical lefts.
Former President Trump also told the Next Spaces chat on Monday he does need more protection at events.
I think that he put it right when he says that the rhetoric's too hot.
Kellyanne Conway was Trump campaign manager when he won in 2016, then senior counselor to the president, now a Fox News contributor. She also has a show on Fox Nation. Here's the deal with Kellyanne.
People love to talk about hot rhetoric and political violence, and they always try to castigate and denigrate people on the right for that. Excuse me. I went to both conventions this year. I saw where the protests were. I saw which convention had people burning American flags. I see folks protesting on college campuses. We do have heated rhetoric. I think this time the president is going a little bit farther and drawing a direct causal line between the things that are said about him online and then offline by his political opponents and online by their supporters.
You know, at the same time, the Democrats will say, Kellyanne, and you've heard it, that Trump's rhetoric is incendiary. He talks about how that Vice President Harris would destroy the country if elected. He said that Israel would be no longer exist if they're elected. I mean, are both sides needing to say less than that?
Look, I'm all for more insights, fewer insults. I think we should have as much light as we do heat in politics. I'm long on the record. I've lived a life that way in politics. However, only one of them, thank God, somebody has attempted to take his life twice in 65 days. And thankfully, that does not apply to anyone else. But again, I think we talk plenty about Donald Trump. I think Trump is the most spoken word in the English language, if not national dialogue. I'm sure it translates the same exact way in hundreds of languages. I think the issue here is, can you keep him safe? Because he's someone who wants to continue to campaign in outdoor rallies, play golf once in a while, at his own golf courses, by the way, which he knows well, which I think private security knows well, which I think the Secret Service knows well at this point. But it's just, these are scary times.
So in this campaign, the Democrats made the switch. Vice President Harris, now the nominee. And at times, it has seemed that former President Trump has had a hard time going after her for different ways. And then he's gotten personal at times. What do you recommend for him in the next less than 7 weeks when he's trying to frame the message against her?
He's got to do what he's doing, which is to talk about inflation, everyday affordability, whose economic plan would deliver results for you and your loved ones. So he should be bringing us back not 4 years ago, but do you want Trump 2019 or Kamala Harris 2019? Kamala Harris 2019 wanted the Bolshevik revolution. She was proud. She's very loud and proud to be out there saying, I want Medicare for all. Let's do away with private health insurance. She's for a Green New Deal. She wants to reimagine public safety, which means defund, don't defend the police. She's insulted Border Patrol. The only time she's really ever said anything about them of consequence is when she accused them, completely falsely accused them of whipping migrants. That was never true. And so I think Kamala 2019 is the one we need to look at. That was the real Kamala running her own race from the bottom up. And Trump 2019 pre-COVID presided over economic boom times. So he's got to show the contrast, not in style or gender or race so much as, but on substance in the policies. And he does that day by day, certainly on the border. I will just take issue with the fact that he's insulting her. She spent an entire debate trying to insult him. She said, we need to get past the name calling, and proceeded to call him names. And this is why the vast majority of Americans say they still don't know enough about her.
You referenced the debate, Kellyanne. The former president said right after, I won. It was great. Every poll said so. But It wasn't true. There were quite a few polls that showed that she, according to the people who had watched the debate, did better than he did. And I've seen some Republicans come out and say it was a missed opportunity for the former president, that he took the bait that she offered several times, and he didn't do enough to go through her record, as you have done, about trying to, identify who she is, as opposed to letting her identify who she is at that debate. Do you think that he had a good night or not?
I think that he had some very good moments in that debate where he said, well, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. You've been there for 3.5 years. Why haven't you done it? Why won't you do it right now? The average undecided voter is exhausted. They really feel that they are scaffolding together enough money every month to meet those bills. And it's a real struggle. All these articles recently, it's not just gas and groceries. That's a 3.5-year-old example. It's the cost of housing. It's credit card debt. Usually people would take out a personal loan if they fell on hard times. Now they're just using their credit cards and they're falling way behind in that kind of debt. It's the cost of auto loans. It's repairs and maintenance and all types of insurances. So I do think him calling her to account on Afghanistan, her lying 25 times, saying things that just aren't true and not being called out on it, being called on it afterwards. Look, I think that the debate was a higher risk for her and potentially a higher reward for her because we don't hear from her. We basically hear from her once a month. July, she became the nominee. August, she had a convention. September, she did a debate. Whoop-de-doo, everybody. He's out there every single day, long-form podcast, interviews on the television, at the rallies, talking to the press spontaneously. She literally is back to pablum. She's literally talking like a Hallmark card, not even the kind that sings at you when you open it up. Pablum. So the country has to decide whether they have confidence in her competence, whether she's ready to do the job. They have to decide that about both of them. To that point, I will say to you something I said to Mr. Trump at the time when he asked me to be campaign manager in the summer of 2016. I said, right now, the campaign, this election's about you. And if you can make it a little bit more about Hillary so that the question is not Trump or not Trump, you're going to have to go into the ballot box, open up your mail ballot, and it's going to say Donald J. Trump, Hillary Rodham Clinton. It's not going to say Trump, not Trump, or Trump bad, Trump good. Same thing now. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump both want this election to be about Donald Trump. It has to even out and be a little bit more about her. And she was darn sure to make that debate about him and not her. So I think that the people need to do what the moderators did not do, which is to fact check both of them and to also say, excuse me, here remains my wish list of questions, me as the undecided voter. The partisans, the pundits, they're very loud and noisy. They're very sure of their vote and they're very sure of their opinions. And it's their job to pick winners and losers in a debate. The question is, what do the American people think? Many of them they're making two decisions, Dave, going into the last 7 weeks, as you point out. The second question is for whom to vote, Trump or Harris. The first and threshold question is whether to bother at all. And there are many people grappling with that very question. I know it's an important election. I know I ought to do it. I know it's my right and my civic duty, my constitutional right, my civic duty. But should I really be encouraging this? Do I really want to participate in all this?
Well, Vice President Harris seems to be going after some of those voters who may not be traditional. She has a Unite for America event with Oprah Winfrey Thursday. Of course, just the other day, pop superstar Taylor Swift came out with an endorsement for Vice President Harris. And then former President Trump writes on Truth Social, I hate Taylor Swift. Was that the right response? Would you have wanted that?
These endorsements matter if you can actually move votes. If people say, you know what, I love Oprah Winfrey and I miss her talk show, and now I got to follow her politics. I don't think it's a big surprise. It was not a huge reveal that Taylor Swift and Oprah Winfrey are supporting Kamala Harris.
I mean, Taylor Swift has an unbelievable number of followers.
Yeah, I'm one of them. As are my 3 teenage daughters. We've been to the concerts. So sure, but let's see how many votes that moves. The other that she got very involved in a couple of races in Tennessee, because I believe she either did or does vote in that area, has a home in Nashville. That didn't work out. So I'm not poo-pooing them. I'm just saying, like, you're making my point for me, are you not? That Kamala Harris needs Donald Trump, needs Oprah Winfrey, needs both Obamas, needs Taylor Swift. It's like, why can't she stand on her own? And riddle me this, why are all the men on her campaign so afraid to have her speak? It just seems so...
Well, she wants a second debate. Why would former President Trump not want that?
I think he should absolutely debate her because I don't think she even brought her best game. I thought she brought her only game. If she's talking about that stuff, then she's got a lot to hide. And I would smoke her out in a third debate for sure.
Early voting is getting underway. Even in Pennsylvania, battleground state, former President Trump even put out on Truth Social, he can get out there and vote early. In 2020, he had some issues with the mail-in and the early vote. Do you think that it's different now?
It's very different now. President Trump has said plainly, he's got a 2-minute appeal on video that they played in Milwaukee. And I've asked the campaign, please, can we put some either dollars behind that or even earned media behind it? Because it's a really good 2 minutes of President Trump telling America, vote however you feel comfortable. If you feel comfortable voting early, do it. If you want to do it by mail or at the polls or on day of election day at the polls, but do it when you feel comfortable. Just make sure you do it. And I think if President and Mrs. Trump went and voted early for him in Florida, when you can start voting, which is probably sometime in October, we can look it up easily. That would go a long way, Dave, because again, if the lion roars, people will follow and they'll say, okay, gee, I didn't trust the machines or I don't trust the U.S. Postal Service, but Donald Trump just did it. And I think he did it in the primaries also. So I think the Republicans are trying to catch up and keep pace with Democrats on what I call the non-sexy parts of politics and investing in the ground game, the get out the vote, not just voter enragement, but voter engagement. And in the end, this could very well come down to, we'll see, but it can come down to being trench warfare, a very technical election where the investments in those processes more than the policies and the politics matter tremendously, making sure that you're being a resource and not just a rebel, that you are out there telling people where to vote, how to vote, meaning through which form or fashion, and when to vote. What is the timeline in your state? Because every state, of course, is different.
Kellyanne Conway, former 2016 Trump campaign manager, now a Fox News contributor and host of Here's the Deal with Kellyanne, a Fox Nation show. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com.
Every 40 seconds, someone in the United States has a stroke, and 80% of those cases are preventable. This month is AFib Awareness Month. AFib is short for atrial fibrillation, one of the leading causes of stroke. So now would be the perfect time to do something so easy to manage your heart health at home in between doctor's visits. KardioMobile 6L is a small medical-grade personal EKG device that records right to your phone. You get 6 views of your heart and 6 times the data to share with your doctor. And it's FDA cleared to detect AFib. Now, you might be thinking, who can afford that? The answer is you can. It's more advanced than any smartwatch at a fraction of the cost. And now, for a limited time, KardioMobile is giving 20% off to all of my listeners. Just go to Kardia.com, that's KARDIA.com, or Amazon, and use code 2024-BENSON. That's 2024-BENSON to get 20% off your KardioMobile 6L, sponsored by AliveCore Inc.
Do these 3 words make you cringe? Calcium oxalate stones. If so, then this message will be a huge relief, because now there's a kidney health supplement that has shown in laboratory tests to reduce the rate of calcium oxalate crystal growth by 99%. That's right, 99%. It's called Kidney Cop, Calcium Oxalate Protector, and nothing else comes close to its success. In fact, it has a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Kidney Cop is so innovative, it's been awarded 5 U.S. patents, is recommended by doctors and pharmacists, and is winning rave reviews from people all over the country. You can be one of them. Kidney Cop is super affordable. You can purchase affordable Kidney Cop today by visiting Amazon.com, Walmart.com, or KidneyCop.com. If you cringe when you hear the words calcium oxalate and you worry about reoccurrence, then you need Kidney Cop right away. Purchase Kidney Cop today at Amazon.com, Walmart.com, or KidneyCop.com.
These statements have not been reviewed by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Sponsored by Calcium Oxalate.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Zach Smith of the Heritage Foundation at 520, retired Lieutenant Colonel Darren Gobb on the constant global crises and chaos caused by Kamala Harris.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here for the Farmers Co-op Old Town Country Store in Old Town St. Peters, where they have a huge selection of products and services for your yard and home, including a full line of lawn and garden products, a full line of products for animal care, and that includes anything from livestock to the family dog or cat. They'll fill any size propane tank for about half the price of a new one, and so much more. Visit them in St. Peters on 2nd Street, right behind the QT at 70 and Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, and check out all their products and services at oldtowncountrystore.com.
Tim Jones here for AMF Electric. Been in business since 1989, offering a full line of industrial, commercial, residential, electrical, and system services. AMF is a merit shop. They work successfully for all owners who favor freedom of economic choice. Yes, even on other AFL trades jobs. At AMF Electric, they're unabashedly pro-American. Call them 314-647-4066. Online, amfelectric.com. That's amfelectric.com.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
With so much happening,
I think it was President Reagan said, we're from the government. We're here to help.
So much to talk about.
Our education secretary flubbing one of Ronald Reagan's iconic lines.
9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
You never want to miss a moment.
There's nothing about this that shows anything good about Hamas.
On air, online, and always on your smart device.
The vast majority of those that were taken captive from that day are still there.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Affect your favorite players. We are taking you right into the end zone with Fox Weather's exclusive weather forecasting technology and the risk of weather impact for every single game of the regular season. Listen to Storming the Field every Friday on FoxNewsPodcasts.com. Now, a look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. I'm Ted Lindner. This is the Fox News Rundown. Suspect in Sunday's assassination attempt of former President Trump making his first court appearance in Florida Monday. He remains in custody. Fox's Dana Marie McNichol has more.
Ryan Rao, 2 charges: possession of firearm by a convicted felon and a possession of firearm with obliterated serial number. He walked in shackled with both his wrists and his feet.
And more charges are expected. And music mogul Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested, taken into custody in Manhattan following a grand jury indictment. The charges in the indictment not immediately clear. They'll be unsealed later this morning. The 54-year-old Combs has been plagued by sexual assault lawsuits and a federal investigation. Federal agents raided his homes in Miami and L.A. back at the end of March. I'm Ted Lindner on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com.
On the next,
Larry Connors, USA.
Learning more about the guy who planned on shooting Donald Trump on a golf course last Sunday. Details coming up.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Attention thrill seekers and fun lovers. Did you know the Midwest's largest wooden roller rink is right here in Missouri? Welcome to Piccadilly Palace, your ultimate family entertainment destination. Glide across our massive skating floor, conquer arcade challenges, put your way through mini golf, and dive into cutting-edge virtual reality experiences. And coming soon, a relaxing bar and grill patio, state-of-the-art golf simulators, and heart-pounding 2-story go-kart racing. Next to East Central College in Union, Missouri. Plan your visit now at PiccadillyPalace.com. That's PiccadillyPalace.com.
How are the trees, shrubs, bushes, and all of your other valuable outdoor assets doing at your home or business? Tim Jones here to remind you that Hanson's Tree Service at Hanson'sTree.com is your one-stop shop for all your tree care needs and so much more. From top-notch tree services to outstanding organic mulch, green resource recycling, grinding and land clearing, and more, let Hanson's team of expert insured arborists take care of your yard so it looks the best it can be as we head towards fall. Get a free quote, book an appointment today at Hanson'sTree.com. That's Hanson'sTree.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, are you feeling the impact of the recent changes in the timeshare industry? My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust to help you. For more than a decade, they have successfully helped over 20,000 owners get out of their timeshare with an A-plus rating at the Better Business Bureau. Customer service is their priority. For a free consultation and a guaranteed solution, 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. On this Wednesday, I'm getting a lot of mail from panicked supporters of Donald Trump saying, is he going to lose? Well, how would I know? I'm not Miss Cleo, a clairvoyant, but I can tell you that the former president is not in a bad position when you analyze the polling. He's running about 3 or 4% behind an incumbent administration that has the entire corporate media on its side. So 3 or 4 points down is in the margin of error. That means it's very tight and anyone could win. Donald Trump is a very determined man. I believe his record in the White House much stronger than President Biden's, and by extension, Vice President Harris. Now, that's my belief based upon what's good for the American worker. Real wages under Trump up more than 7%. Under Biden, real wages went down. That is a key component of this upcoming election. I've had some advice for Donald Trump: tamp down the personal stuff. Nobody cares what you think of Taylor Swift. No more Cocker Spaniels in the news. You should, Mr. President, concentrate on your record. If you do, you have a very good chance to win. Back in a moment. If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. CarShield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. We will still be enjoying lots of sun today. However, I do expect some clouds to bubble up briefly in the afternoon. Winds remaining light out of the south, just around 2 to 7 miles per hour, and temperatures on the warmer end of things reaching 90 degrees. Now tonight we fall into the 60s. We're still in the 90s for both Thursday or Friday. Watching for some rain chances over the weekend as well as cold fronts. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Have you noticed bad behavior has become normalized at interscholastic athletic events? Some fans seem angry. They lack civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly. Time out! What is going on? This has to stop. Let's not forget, school sports aren't just about winning. And they're definitely not an excuse to take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can learn and grow as people, not just as players. We all have a role to play in setting a good example for our students and teaching them these important values. So fans, it's time to step up your game and behave positively at interscholastic athletic events in Missouri.
This message presented by the MSH-SAA and the Missouri Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
News Talk STL, always streaming on your smart speaker, our mobile app, or newstalkstl.com. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Let's get the day started right. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Is winning enough? I mean that in a very thoughtful way here. Obviously, we want to make sure that we win the elections that are coming up in just under 8 weeks now. But is that enough? Is celebrating on election night enough? I'm guessing for most people who are watching and listening right now, the answer is no. So where do we go from here? Hey, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Mike Ferguson here. Thanks for making News Talk STL part of your day. A little bit later on today, we've got Republican nominee for Lieutenant Governor David Wasinger going to be with us. And then also, we've talked a lot about Amendment 3. We've got to defeat this thing. We've got to have Amendment 3 get defeated, but it's going to be a lot of work. But even beyond that, it's not just about defeating a radical, horrible fringe proposal. It's also about how do we win back enough of the state to where we truly have a culture of life. The Vitae Foundation's president, Brandy Meeks, going to be here as well. All right, another area where I think we need less compromise, and that has to do with the Second Amendment. And American Firearms Association's Dorr was with us on Tuesday's program. There's a trial happening in East St. Louis, right here in the metro area, that has to do with that unconstitutional gun control bill that the Illinois legislature passed, and J.B. Pritzker was happy to sign into law. So we talked to him about that, but also about a proposal in Congress that actually would support and would recognize your Second Amendment rights. Here's the update that he gave us.
Normally, like if somebody's on the road and traveling, we're like, okay, well, wait till you get somewhere and we'll call in and get that stable signal. You're literally headed to the courthouse to hear the hearings regarding Illinois' unconstitutional law. I'm going to get to that in just a couple of minutes. So literally he's on the job right now when he's checking in. Let me start with this bill that Congressman Thomas Massey has submitted, and I found out about it through your all social media, and that is a national constitutional carry, basically national reciprocity, sort of bill here. But what is it that he's proposing? And I'm not expecting that all the Republicans will have the guts to do it, even though they should. But what is it that's at least on the table?
Hey, good morning, Mike. I am driving right now today, but traffic is not bad. So, yeah, I mean, Tom Massey's bill is pretty straightforward. Right now he's got a problem. Take people in Missouri. If you go across the river where I'm going to be in about 20 minutes, if I have my handgun with me, I'm breaking the law and I'm open to criminal charges. So any state that does not like concealed carry, if you're not a resident there and have no permit there, and you simply travel through it, you are risking criminal censure. Tom Massey's bill would negate all of that and provide for a national constitutional carry process where your permit is valid in every state, like your driver's license.
Good morning, Aaron. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So I suppose a lot of critics would worry that, well, if that would be the case, then essentially the most, I won't say liberal, but the most free of the constitutional carry type of states would have basically make the rule for everybody else, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, the concealed carry laws are all pretty much the same thing, though. You go through a background check. You can't be a felon. You have to be a good person. And that's kind of cut to the chase. No one is worried about somebody with a concealed carry permit causing problems. The problems are being caused by violent criminals who disobey the law in the first place and ignore them altogether. So there's not going to be any increase in crime by allowing permit holders to carry nationally what they do right now in their respective states.
Of course, I would argue that this would be allowing the Second Amendment to write the laws for all the states.
There you go.
Myself, just personally, or at least as close as we're going to get to it. And speaking of that, and this is not a surprise, Aaron, Vice President Kamala Harris puts up on her social media, we must renew the assault weapons ban. And so she's doubling down on that. So not only do we know where she stands, which confirms what we already knew, but at the same time, she and the left think this is a winning issue to go after gun rights in the country. So what's the messaging? What's the counter to that?
Well, again, these people are absolute tyrants, and we should take our enemies at their word. When they say they want to disarm this entire country and take away the most common, the most popular, and the most effective rifle in the country, they're not playing games. And a lot of gun people, I think, might have this idea that they're never going to do that. They're not serious. The heck they're not. And they want all of us left with BB guns and squirt guns. And so we've got to be very careful as we approach November and make sure we elect people who will fight for the Second Amendment, not just vote for it, but fight for it. Because if we ever lose these freedoms, there is no getting them back.
Aaron, you did mention it there that we're coming in on an election here. We've got a Missouri legislative session that we're looking forward to. What should we be asking and demanding of the candidates right now in regards to 2A priorities?
Well, for us, we have some major agenda items in Jeff City for January. And then the first amongst them now will be IP reform. As everyone knows, that was killed by the rhinos this past session in Jeff City. So in November, the abortion issue is on the ballot. But if we're not careful, by 2026, we'll see gun control on the ballot here in Missouri as well. So fixing the IP process is the number one agenda item. And then for us, number two, we're going to do a SAPA cleanup bill that will take into account the various issues raised at the court level. And we're going to fix the few issues the court had with SAPA and make sure we have those protections in place. Because God forbid, if we have Kamala Harris in the White House come January, we will need SAPA in effect because she will order our state and local resources to enforce whatever crazy federal gun control laws she chooses to enact via executive order. So we're going to fix SAPA. And I'll tell you right now, guys, the appetite in Jeff City to fix SAPA is at an apex. There are dozens and dozens of lawmakers calling me, gearing up for a battle. They're eager to deal with this issue. If Kamala Harris wins, again, the momentum is definitely crescendoing.
Yeah, let me ask you about just kind of a technical procedural question on that. So if the cleanup aspect of the SAPA law is put into effect, and I do believe that that can get through the legislature, and I think the governor will sign that, soon to be Governor Mike Kehoe. So if that is signed into place, is there another court challenge to be expected? I mean, is the assumption by the left SAPA is struck down, it is null, it is dead, you can dress it up all you want, it doesn't matter? Or do you need to pass a new improved SAPA law that takes in these court rulings into account?
Well, right now it's a two-pronged approach, right? The first one is we're going to make some adjustments to current SAPA law with we'll cleanup bills have the wrong word. We'll just say SAPA 2.0. The other approach will be some news we're going to be announcing on my show, Shall Not Be Infringed, shortly, about the next wave of the appellate process with Attorney General Andrew Bailey. So it's going to be a both-and approach. We're going to work to preserve what we have right now with SAPA as it stands, and also worked on a parallel track to fix SAPA, if you want to use that vernacular, as we approach next session.
Illinois' new unconstitutional gun control law has a hearing today. Are there any updates as we look forward to what's going on that way?
And he's on the field trip right now to it. So
yeah, that's where you're on your way to.
It's a 5-day bench trial is what's being scheduled here. We don't often rather see bench trials in the context of an AR-15 ban. What's going on here is, and it's important folks to remember this, all of the appeals so far in the 7th Circuit, United States Supreme Court, they have all been on the preliminary motion to stay or to enjoin the enforcement of the law in Illinois. We have not yet had a merits merit-based argument in court. And the Supreme Court of the United States, not Illinois, will not consider the appeals process until lower courts have had a merits-based argument. So when SCOTUS declined to hear this issue several months ago, that was only because it had not fully worked through the process yet in Illinois. So right now we have a 5-day trial here in East St. Louis. Judge McGlynn is the same judge who granted the injunction of this law when it first became effective back in January of last year. My guess, sitting here today, my guess is that Judge McGlynn finds this rule to be unconstitutional, and then there's a stay granted on that decision either by himself or the circuit court. But either way, we are getting towards the process necessary to have an actual appeal made to the Supreme Court. You got to jump through these hoops first.
Yeah, because I think there were a lot of people who were upset that the U.S. Supreme Court turned down the case and sent it to the process, like you just said, because the Supreme Court does want that to work us through, even though the current Supreme Court has been very clear on how they view the Second Amendment. So I know it's a lot of frustrating for a lot of people, but if and when this goes to the U.S. Supreme Court, I would think we have a lot of reason to be optimistic that this not only would be struck down, but the fact that it went through the process and then was struck down makes it even clearer to the rest of the country and the other legislatures. No, the Second Amendment means what it says. You cannot infringe on these rights. Or am I being too ethereal?
No, you're correct. I mean, Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito, both in when Supreme Court declined to hear this case, both of those guys said this law in Illinois is an absolute overreach. It is unconstitutional and it violates Bruin. So these guys are hungry to get this case in their hands and reverse this in Illinois. There is a case that is ahead of us, and that is the case out of Maryland. It's Bianchi versus, I guess, the Attorney General in Maryland. That case has now been heard through all the trial court levels. The appellate process is done, and that case is now being prepped for a cert petition to the Supreme Court. So we have dueling tracks here again. We have the Maryland case and the Illinois case. They are ahead of us in Maryland, but I think whatever state gets their assault weapons ban, so-called law, to the Supreme Court, we have a pretty good shot of having that case heard in the United States Supreme Court. And if that happens, and when that happens, rather, and if we have that go our direction, it will be, the left is triggered right now. If they have, the 12 states that have an AR-15 ban currently in place, when this thing goes to the Supreme Court and Clarence Thomas gets to have his way with it, you're going to hear a wailing across the land from the left like we have not heard in a very long time. So it's going to be a good day. We have to get there first.
First morning news dump of the day comes your way here in just a couple of minutes, right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Analysis, opinion.
Russia will not prevail in this war.
Trump said Kamala Harris just copied my no tax on tips policy.
Iran doesn't want Trump back.
101.9 and 94.1.
Why? Because he held them accountable.
News Talk STL.
To our brave police officers and first responders, we say thank you for risking your lives to protect us. To all the incredible volunteers who've joined hands with the David Dorn Foundation to raise funds for equipment and services, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. We stand strong with our volunteers who give their time, talent, and dedication as a shield of support for those who rush into danger. The David Dorn Foundation gives a big thank you from our heart to yours. Visit dornfoundation.com and join as a volunteer.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable, final expense life insurance policy, regardless of your health condition. You could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial Also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
We were there when our nation called us to serve. We were there to write the original GI Bill and get it signed into law. When a community found itself in the middle of a natural disaster. When tragedy struck at a local school. For veterans who suffered from toxic exposure and needed a voice on Capitol Hill. And we're still serving as part of the American Legion. For more than 100 years, veterans have been strengthening our nation through the American Legion. Through programs that help our nation's youth become tomorrow's leaders. By keeping the spirit of our forefathers alive and well. And by helping veterans receive the benefits they earned through their service. The American Legion will be there for the next 100 years. Learn more about how we're helping in your community at legion.org.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Dan Bongino here, and I'm proud to be on News Talk STL every weekday from 11 to 2. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I believe my love for you is a love that will last forever. I'm here to testify, I'm a prisoner of your heart. Baby, don't you believe when I tell you I love you?
All right, do no harm. That's something your doctor is supposed to take seriously. So why are so many Missouri doctors embracing abortion?
I believe that has to do with the Hippocratic Oath.
Yeah. Not actually laid out by those words, but that's what's outlined in it. Yeah. Hundreds of Missouri doctors say, yay, abortion. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Is it time for you to maybe look around for another doctor?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. That's a question that's going to challenge a lot of people. So let's talk about it. Also, I think I can summarize this world news, international news with this. Beep, beep, boom.
That was a
wow
shocker.
Amazing. Absolutely mind and apparently groin blowing. Also, maybe being over 500 and finishing in second place is the best we can hope for when it comes to the Cardinals.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. 5:50 right now. Let's dump some news on you.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
All right, hundreds of medical professionals, basically doctors, sign on to a letter in support of the pro-abortion Amendment 3 in Missouri and make a big deal of it to the media. Some media reports are quoting some of the doctors repeating false claims about Missouri's current pro-life laws. Among the false claims, that abortions are not allowed in those very rare cases where the physical life of the mother is at risk. That is simply not true, but that's what you're seeing as the crux of the media coverage of this letter. We're going to get into that in a little bit later today. Here's the question. I'll just warn you right now. Here's the question I'm going to ask. If you discover that your physician's name is on that list of the 800 or so Missouri doctors who are asking people to approve Amendment 3, is it time to find another physician for you and or your family?
Well, the answer for me is yes.
Yeah, let's talk about why. Why
Okay.
or why not? Because some people may disagree. We'll do that a little bit later on today. All right. Vice President Kamala Harris actually called and spoke with Donald Trump following, of course, obviously the weekend threat and attempted assassination of the former president.
The 2024 presidential nominees talked on the phone Tuesday afternoon. According to the White House, the vice president called to speak with Trump directly to express her gratitude that he is safe. It was described as a cordial and brief conversation. The call came one day after President Biden spoke with Trump. He, too, conveyed his relief that Trump was unharmed after a gunman was found near him on the golf course Sunday. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Well, I guess it's something that they should do, and I'm glad that they did. But brief and cordial, probably about I'm going to guess that's about what it was, because none of these people like each other. at all.
That's true.
Very deep level as well.
Those would be the two descriptive words I would think of.
Yeah.
Also.
So, be polite. Okay. Thanks for the call. Appreciate your expression of that. Now go away. That's probably how it went. Okay. Now responding to the questions over the Secret Service and what there's what went right in that the Secret Service agent spotted the would-be assassin, and then there's what went wrong and how on earth did he get to that location and able to stay there so long. Senator Marsha Blackburn was on Fox Business's The Evening Edit talking about the questions she still has.
Why weren't there drones? Why weren't there dogs? Why were they not going through and watching more closely?
And in addition to the investigation by the feds, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has authorized a separate state investigation as well, in addition to what the locals are doing in place of that as well. All right. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says his state is taking action against the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, calling the group a foreign terrorist organization, which, certainly appears to be. It's definitely a mafia-like organization. Wisconsin Republican Senator Ron Johnson was also on Fox Business's The Evening Edit to discuss this gang and a lot of what's coming out of South America right now.
When I was chairman of Homeland Security, I would go down to Central America, and you would hear tales of some of the most brutal gangs and what they did. They almost make ISIS look like choir boys. They're awful. 4 Venezuelan members of that gang have been arrested in Aurora, Colorado after a shooting near an apartment complex. We're talking about the apartment complex, which media has shown was overtaken by that gang. Basically, they just overwhelmed the place and just took it. Is pretty much what happened there. All right. We haven't talked about this in a while. The Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse. Families of the victims announced a lawsuit over their loved one's death. There's an organization called CASA, which is a national Latino advocacy organization. They spoke about the lawsuit. Here's Executive Director Gustavo Torres.
The loss of these 6 lives has destroyed their worlds, leaving their loved ones in pain and anguish, forever changed.
So the families who were suing went to hold Grace Ocean Private Limited legally liable for that collapse, which was caused when a cargo ship crashed into the bridge back in March. 8 workers doing maintenance on the bridge were thrown into the water. 6 of them died. The port, as you know, was closed for months, causing tens of millions of dollars in economic damages as well. We knew a lawsuit was coming. And there should be. I mean, they really ought to pretty much drop the hammer on that company that caused all of that chaos. All right, the Cardinals get a second win in a row over the Pirates last night. Lance Lynn gave up only 4 hits and 1 run over 6 innings. 6 innings long enough for a starter still?
These days, I guess it is for you and me. No, not really.
Yeah, come on, man. Stay in the game.
It's got to be 7 or 8. Come on.
Yeah. I think the 8-inning starters, unless they're throwing a Greg Maddux-like game, those days are probably over.
Yeah, long
7,
gone.
Yeah, 7 is considered a lot these days. Let's see here. 3-1 victory for the Cardinals. Jordan Walker had a home run in the 4th inning. Game 3 of the 4-game series is this evening again at Busch Stadium. Sonny Gray going to be on the bump for this one. He's going for his 14th win. It is possible he could get to 15 on the season as they run out of time. First pitch is at 6:45. Cardinals 1 game over 500. So staying over 500, maybe catching the Cubs for second base is about the best that the Cardinals can hope for.
It's possible. And a nice ceremony coming up tonight for Big City, Matt Adams.
That's right.
Who will retire as a Cardinal.
Number 1 for live and local
conservative talk.
Every day, something new.
News, analysis, and opinion.
Same old tired playbook.
She's a Marxist. She's a fascist. Now she's saying, we want to build a strong border. Where has she been for 3.5 years?
He actually flew a drone in the hours before the attack.
Gunmen searched online for events of both Trump and Joe Biden.
We should be talking about public policies that matter. 101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number 1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis city streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican Pat Curtis, Farber Treasurer.
We've been here 30 years. 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right, nice, soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Not sure what it said, but first the message arrived, and then just a few seconds later, a powerful explosion.
Pages used by the militant group Hezbollah had exploded near simultaneously, killing at least 9 people, including an 8-year-old girl, and wounding more than 2,000. Hezbollah and the Lebanese government blame Israel for what appeared to be a sophisticated remote attack. As people sat in cafes or drove cars and motorcycles, the pages in their hands or pockets started heating up and then exploding, leaving blood-splattered scenes and panicking bystanders. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
At his first campaign event since being targeted by a would-be assassin for a second time, former President Trump tells a Michigan audience that, in his words, only consequential presidents get shot at. Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville says there's little doubt that disparaging remarks about Mr. Trump by Democrats and the media played a role in the potentially deadly violence.
It's time for them to shut up because somebody is going to get killed other than the fireman that got killed already in Pennsylvania. Mentally ill people hear this violent, dangerous rhetoric, and we're going to have a copycat.
IVF-related legislation fails to advance in the Senate.
Donald Trump has called himself a leader on IVF.
We want more babies.
But a vote to establish a nationwide right to IVF did not get the 60 votes needed to move forward. Texas Republican Ted Cruz voted no.
It's designed to backdoor and federalize broad abortion legislation.
Before the vote, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer expected Republicans to not support the IVF bill.
They stand against the well-being of families.
Ed Donahue, Washington.
The Federal Reserve expected to announce an interest rate cut later today, perhaps a quarter-point rate cut. Wall Street Dow futures up 58 points and NASDAQ futures ahead 33. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-504-8790. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-504-8790. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-504-8790.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. We will still be enjoying lots of sun today. However, I do expect some clouds to bubble up briefly in the afternoon. Winds remaining light out of the south, just around 2 to 7 miles per hour, and temperatures on the warmer end of things reaching 90 degrees. Now tonight we fall into the 60s. We're still in the 90s for both Thursday or Friday. Watching for some rain chances over the weekend as well as cold fronts. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Jewels on Hampton, paying some of the highest prices for your gold, silver, diamonds, and more. Call 314-752-5000 or visit jewelsonhampton.com.
Ready to cut a deal? Your new John Deere compact tractor is waiting at Seidenstricker Novi Partners. Get 0% financing for 84 months with zero down, or get 0% financing for 60 months, plus save up to an additional $2,000 on select compact tractors. Come see us at one of our 28 locations or visit us online at snpartners.com and let's cut a deal today. Seidenstricker Novi, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 10/25/2024. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Student loans can be a strain on your family. For a limited time, the Springfield, Missouri Police Department is offering qualifying new officers up to $12,500 to help ease the burden of student loans. If you're driven, honest, and team-oriented, we want to talk to you about joining our next paid police academy. Start serving your community as a leader of it with the Springfield Police Department. Visit gospd.com for more information. That's gospd.com. Brought to you by the Springfield, Missouri Police Department.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
What citizen wouldn't want to make America great again?
Live and local.
You lose, you Dixon Notch. Yeah. You lost America. I saw it etched on a coin somewhere.
This is News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
We the people.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
It's not rocket science. Rocket science.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Good morning to the people of St. Louis.
I thought I was being all clever when I came up with beep, beep, boom. But apparently one of the big newspapers is using that too.
Yep. The front of the New York Post is a thing of beauty.
Oh, man. All right, we'll get to that in just a minute. All right, is it just politics or should you consider finding a new doctor? Serious question here. If they literally support the politics of death in Missouri. I'll explain what I mean by that at 6:20. Okay. Big question here. All right. Before we get to the pager blowing up thing, which is, I mean, amazing.
That story's blowing up.
Yeah, but up. Yeah. It's like it blows your mind and your hips, apparently, as well. All right. So real quick, just because this is all over the news. So P. Diddy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did he do it?
Did he? Yeah. He is accused of some pretty horrific, like.
Thank you.
He's accused of some like pretty horrific pervert crimes.
Yeah.
So, for instance, here is the federal attorney, Damian Williams, talking about some of the charges.
The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct.
Now, some of the accusations are really, really gross.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking like horrible stuff that I'm not even going to try to infer on the air here. His lawyer is a guy by the name of Mark Agnifilo, and here's part of his response.
Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent. He came to New York to establish his innocence. He's not afraid. He's not afraid of the charges.
Well, he's definitely a fighter against his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend in that video in the hotel.
Oh,
where he's
yeah.
beating the crap out of her. Now, listen, I could not name you a single Diddy song. I have no. I mean, I know who he is. I've seen him because he's in he's in the news a lot, but I have no idea of any of his albums or songs. And I'm kind of proud of that, to be really honest. But this is like a big deal for a lot of people because he was kind of a pop culture thing for a while, and now people are finding out, oh, he may be actually a monster.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's kind of the underworld of celebrity culture, right?
Yeah.
And we're just getting peeks every once in a while these days into what goes on behind the scenes at these crazy parties and all these other things, and it is really, really gross. Honestly, kind of what I was expecting of certain people. I mean, not these people specifically, but I in my mind, I always imagine that some of these people with all this money, influence, and power, there's got to be some monsters in there who are allowed to do whatever they want to do because they've accumulated so much money and power.
And speaking of doing what they want to do, I tried to wrap my head around the fact that he's videotaping all this stuff going on.
Yeah, that's one of the alleged.
bizarre.
That's one of the alleged things is that he records all of his crazy parties and all the things that are going on there. There's some weird conspiracy theories too, kind of associated with it in terms of the associations that he's made over the years and those videos.
Is he Illuminati?
I don't know if he's Illuminati,
just the music biz.
But just the idea that supposedly, and this is what the story is. I don't even know where the claim originated. That certain influential people pass through his crazy parties. They're doing some crazy stuff. He gets it on video, and all of a sudden, their relationship gets real close. We'll say it that way. So, who knows if any of that's true? I would say I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I think a lot of the iffy area revolves around Epstein. And
okay. Was he in those?
Well,
circles?
like Gabe says,
well, it's Epstein,
can't really tell.
It's an Epstein style conspiracy behind or that's the idea.
Yeah, I mean it's like, for instance, I mean I'm not an R&B or rap guy. Now R&B as in like the old classic good stuff.
You don't know Mo Money Mo Problems?
I've heard that phrase.
Okay.
But
that's one of his songs. That's one of his hit songs.
But like it's like you hear rapper R&B artist accused of rape or whatever. You're like, oh yeah, that fits a stereotype. But like with the metal guys, I'm like, you hear heavy metal rock singer overdoses on heroin. You're like, yeah, that tracks. I mean, there's some stereotypes that you hope aren't true. But sometimes it's like, well, we've heard that before.
Not unexpected.
And it's one of those where at some point maybe we should like stop idolizing people who are famous. We're always going to have people who are famous because frankly every culture craves that.
Oh yes.
But maybe we should stop looking at them as like better. How do they get their influence? I mean, it's like, for instance, this one girl who said that skanky thing on social media, and calls her the Hawk Tua girl.
The Hawk Tua girl.
She's making hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you're
appearances everywhere.
Yeah, appearances everywhere. And whenever I see her like on my like reels or something, I scroll as fast as I can because I don't want it in my algorithms because I think she's an idiot. And I think we're rewarding the worst of the worst.
Oh, absolutely.
But I noticed the body language just being a communication. She's sitting there like she's really something, a big deal now.
Oh no.
We convince people that they are above their actual station in life.
Yeah.
And then you get stuff like this.
Yeah, let me give you my theory about the psychology of this.
Yeah.
I think and I think it's kind of evolutionary psychology. I think back in the day, the people who had the stories in the tribe, they actually did stuff.
Yeah.
They were the guy who went over the mountain. No one had ever been over the mountains before. So they went over the mountain, they came back and they told the story about what was over the mountain. And everybody sat in rapt silence while the storyteller was providing the narrative, right? And then so then that became a thing. They're famous because they actually did something. Everybody in the village knows who they are and they heard the story. Somehow the psychology kind of stayed with us. So the storyteller is still an important person in our lizard brains, essentially. It's just like, they're telling the story. It's very important. It's effectual to our lives. But the thing is, the storytellers these days are the court jesters.
Right.
They're the people. They're just here to entertain us.
Right.
They haven't actually done anything. They pretended to do everything, but they've done nothing.
Yeah.
But there's the storytelling aspect of it captures us, and we think that they are important.
Well, and now it's just being famous is the story.
Yes,
I mean,
and now it's turned into something.
That's where you get
stupid.
all this ridiculous influencer nonsense.
Right.
People trying to put on a front to basically create a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, it's related to it in that it's like, oh, I haven't heard of the famous person. I must not be in the know. I have to learn now who the famous person is.
Yeah.
They're famous now because they're famous.
Right.
So
Exactly.
and it gets worse from here.
Okay, you're going to see some of these videos if you haven't already on your social media or on the news and everything around Lebanon. I mean,
this story.
Thousands of people hurt and like at least eight or nine killed.
I actually love this story.
I know. So pagers, the beepers. Hezbollah apparently uses. I mean, it's 2024. Who uses beepers? Who uses pagers?
Yeah, seriously.
But apparently,
I didn't even know they still made them.
I didn't know they
that
made
was
them
my
either.
first thought too.
So apparently, what's happened here, according to the New York Post and a couple other reports I've seen on Fox News and some others, that Red State's got a story on it as well. And so apparently the Mossad, which is basically the secret operatives of
the CIA,
the CIA of Israel, they apparently intercepted a big shipment of these beepers going into Lebanon for Hezbollah, and they loaded them with explosives. And then yesterday they did the call or set off the particular code, whatever it was, that set off and caused these things to explode and attack the Hezbollah terrorists. Because I guess if you were far up enough on the line to have a beeper, then you were somewhere up the line.
Yeah, conceivably these were like encrypted deals. Like this is a very specified device, used for communications, encrypted communications for Hezbollah. So it's not as though some random kid is going to accidentally have this thing. These are for their guys, the terrorists,
because they apparently did not like the fact that cell phones could be tracked in location and GPS and all that sort of thing.
Right.
So they went back to old-fashioned beepers. And these things were blowing up like their hips, their innards, their groins, and I mean,
depends on where your pocket is located. Right?
And there were some people around them who got hurt too. And I'm like, well, I mean, then don't associate with them, But also, like, you've seen video from like grocery stores and barbershops and things like that. But to me, it's just absolutely a amazing wow factor. I'm having my trouble getting my mind around this. How Israel pulled off this operation. That is freaking amazing.
Can you imagine the Mossad meeting when
they my goodness
talked about this? You know what? How about this idea?
Yeah, somebody's like, that'll never work. Come on, dude.
Well, they had the shipment, right? They've captured the shipment. It's like, what are we gonna do with these things? Like, oh, you should just destroy them. It's like, and there's this guy in the back who's like, I have an idea.
Right.
You with your hand up.
He's like,
what's your idea? Yeah, but that means that they did thousands of these beepers and somehow repackaged them to the point where they did not. No, they took these things apart. They loaded them with explosives and sent them in there. And of course, now Hezbollah is like, we will retaliate. Northern Israel is on high alert because terrorist organizations, Hamas, Hezbollah, the so-called Palestinians, they want free reign to attack Jewish people and the state of Israel. But when Israel hits back, how dare you? And of course, you're already seeing the media try to shift and like, well, there were innocent civilians who were hurt as well.
They're calling it an escalation. It's like, oh yeah, the 6,000 rockets that have been falling on men, women, and children in Israel for the last couple of years. That wasn't the escalation. Just the targeted attack against the terrorists is somehow the escalation.
Right.
Screw you guys.
Exactly.
I wonder how many folks who still use pagers this morning are thinking, maybe I'll leave mine at home.
I should upgrade.
I don't think I know anybody who has a pager. I have not had a pager since like 1997 or something like that.
Yeah. In my world back in the day, the only people who could afford or use pagers were the drug dealers. So there was.
But if you had one for your work, that was like a status symbol.
That's true. That's true.
I had one for one of my jobs, and man, I made sure that was displayed like on my belt because that was like a big deal.
That's what the clip was
Sorry,
for.
I need to go make a phone call.
Everybody could know.
Pardon me. So I go to the payphone.
Oh yeah, and especially if you had the pager with the large LED screen, so you could actually have messages, and some of them had text features even before the whole thing. Oh man, yeah, it was a status symbol for real.
That wasn't that cool. All right. Okay, serious question here. 620-314-912-1019. Hundreds of doctors have signed on to a letter asking people to pass Amendment 3 and overturn our pro-life laws in Missouri. Doctors.
Okay.
All right. I've got a serious question for everybody about this. I'm not all about cancel culture, but does this tell you something about your doctor if they are on board this and go out of their way to put their name on it? Let's talk about that around 6:20 here. 1019-941 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information? You want to take the place of what I trust?
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
The false impressions, well, baby, they will last forever. Stop right now! I have had enough of this.
Hey, want to amaze your friends when they visit? They will be impressed when they see your custom-made drapes, blinds, or shutters. Michael Proctor will personally help you pick out the correct colors to truly showcase your home. Then he will actually design and personally install everything. No overhead markup. That's going to save you a lot of money on drapes, blinds, or shutters.
Call for an appointment at your home. Spell Proctor like doctor.
Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, the #1 home selling team in the St. Louis area. And I can say that from firsthand experience. My wife and I were blown away from the results that we saw from working with Rodney and Jen, from selling our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible to finding our family's perfect new home. They over-delivered every step of the way. And right now, it's still very much a seller's market. So, Tim, for folks that have been thinking about selling their home, it's a perfect time to call the Wallners.
That's right, Tony. And don't forget, they're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois. So no matter where you are in the metro area, you can put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. The Wallners' experience and work ethic, second to none. And of course, the numbers speak for themselves. The Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. Right now, they're working with so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team. Tim Jones here with Dr. Pat Fader of Comprehensive Chiropractic. Doc, I hear you all have a new treatment program for everyone's chronic knee pain.
Tim, that's right. We are helping patients with chronic knee pain by addressing the root cause of their condition.
And what makes your program so unique?
Well, Tim, many programs focus on just one component of the problem, the structural component. Our program focuses on the metabolic and neurologic component to complete the picture and improve our patients' outcomes. We get to the root cause of what is driving inflammation in a person's body and address it directly.
For your chronic knee pain and more, visit cchiropractic.com. All information, make an appointment at cchiropractic.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
Darling, you got to let me know.
Okay, I've got I'm obviously coming to this from a pro-life perspective, but I'm asking serious questions, and it's a little bit early, but if you had your sip of coffee or not, let's talk here. 314-912-1019. Can you trust a doctor who advocates for death? I know that sounds harsh, but I'll tell you why I'm putting it that way. You might want to ask your doctor if they are actively promoting the politics of death. I'll tell you what I mean by that. Like I said, by the way, the fastest growing demographic in America is Hispanic. I don't think anybody questions that.
No kidding.
And they have made it clear that no party gets to take their vote for granted. So at 6:35, we're going to find out how that could impact the election. It's going to be interesting stuff here. 6:21 right now. Gabe's here. Stell's here. I'm Mike. Hundreds of Missouri doctors, like 800 Missouri doctors, sign on to this letter to the public, and they put a press release out and everything, calling on people to pass Amendment 3 specifically to legalize abortion. And so it's a very pro-abortion, letter that they've got. And these are all doctors.
Mm-hmm.
So we're the experts, and we're telling you from healthcare perspective, we've got to have more abortion in Missouri. And I looked up several stories. I mean, look at every TV thing, look at Missouri Net, look at Missouri Independent, look at NPR, look at all of them. They've all got a story. Like, for instance, Channel 4's headline, Missouri doctors take sides on ballot question to legalize abortion.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, what all of these articles have in common is that they are repeating the falsehood that there are no exceptions.
Right.
For instance, there is one doctor named Dr. Betsy Wickstrom. She treats high-risk pregnancies in Kansas City. And let me just read the article here. It says, since Missouri's abortion ban snapped into place 2 years ago, Wickstrom says she sends patients over state lines for abortions in the most extreme cases. Quoting her now. They're sitting in my exam room with blue lips, tugging for breath, literally suffocating in my exam rooms. And if they don't terminate that pregnancy, they're not going to be around to raise their little child. But can I do anything about that here in Missouri? No, she says. Okay, that's a lie.
I think she's a liar.
That's a lie.
Yeah, she's absolutely. Well, I'm actually questioning the story of the lady in the blue lips.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she has to terminate.
She can't breathe.
From what I've heard from a lot of other doctors is that there's almost no condition in which a termination is part of the treatment.
And in those exceedingly rare cases where it actually does or might happen, Missouri law absolutely explicitly allows for that, for that abortion. But the media is continuing to propagate this lie, this falsehood, and now these doctors are propagating that as well. So we've talked before about how different institutions have been captured by the hard left, and among those, we have said medicine has been captured by the left.
Well, we watched it happen almost real time, or at the very least, it displayed itself in real time during the COVID craziness.
The COVID stuff, and then the so-called transgender nonsense, and so now with this abortion. So basically, it's not that your doctor doesn't have life-saving skills in different specialties, but understand that white coat, for the most part, also is going to mean they're part of a political action organization as well, for the most part. So here's the question I've got. And I know that this is going to seem extreme because here, I don't care if the doctor votes differently than I do. I don't care if they see social issues differently than I do. I just, that's not a prerequisite for my doing business with them. But don't forget, you're doing business with your doctor. But if you find out that your physician or your family's physician or your pediatrician, God forbid, ladies, your OBGYN, if you find out that their name is on this list of over 800 doctors, is it time to find a new doctor? Or is this just a disagreement over one of those social issues? And, is this a matter of saying, well, now, Mike, now you're wanting to do cancel culture from the conservative side? How is that any better than the other side? But my question goes a little bit deeper than this, is that if you have somebody who is using their position as a medical professional to advocate for the termination of innocent life, can you really trust that person, not just as a doctor, but as a human being?
Yeah, that's the thing. This is to me, and I think to most, I'll say, pro-lifers, this is an ethical question.
Right.
This is simply okay. So let's go back in time to when there was some other sort of crazy medical practice that was going around. It was obviously hurting people, killing people, and there's a faction of doctors there's the people on the right side of that issue. The doctors who were like, this is crazy. You're hurting people. This isn't helping anybody, and it's just causing harm. My Hippocratic oath says I shouldn't support this. And then there's a faction of doctors who writes a letter and say, hey, we should be allowed to do that thing that hurts people, that doesn't help anybody, and only causes death and destruction. That ethical question, I think, speaks to their capability in medical practice.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and my guess is that there's somebody listening right now who's like, well, I know my doctor's a leftist, and I have no idea where any of my doctors stands. I'm going to the dentist right after the show, or later on today after the show. Just got my semi-annual, checkup. I have no idea how the dentist votes. I don't care. I've never asked her. No clue. None of my business. I don't worry about it. They do a good job on my teeth. That's all I care. But if I found out that she is signing off on something that is literally pro-death, I'm rethinking her ethics and her value of life. Now, I have no idea whether they're where they're at. I haven't seen anything to indicate they're political in any way, shape, or form. I'd be shocked if if any of the physicians I work with, if their names are on there. But would you consider, because when you talk about doctor's office, a lot of times you've got pediatricians who've been with your kids for 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 years, or family physicians for the family practices that have been working with your family for many years. Is this a flash in the pan? You don't want to throw away that relationship? Or do you say, I just found out something about you that makes me question whether or not you truly are committed to my best interest, if you are willing to terminate innocent life? Because Amendment 3, this is so extreme that it does allow for abortions in the third trimester. I mean, it just does.
Yeah. There's no question.
And it also eliminates liability. And this might be partly just a theory here, where some doctors would say, ooh, I could really screw something up and not have any liability. It takes away liability and accountability. And in many cases actually makes it really hard to regulate even basic safety standards. That's all right there in the amendment. So do you, and I'm not talking about, the focus here is on the doctors, but I'm talking about you. Do you and your family reconsider trusting that person with your health?
No. And I guess here's the thing
you
that's,
don't reconsider it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm doing like three things at once. I do reconsider. I not only reconsider, I simply make a decision. If you have decided to not only throw your support behind it, or even just a rhetorical or a philosophical support of it, if we're in a discussion or something, but you throw the legitimacy of your profession behind advocacy specifically for Amendment 3, that's a step too far, obviously.
I mean, I'm trying to think of what other amendments are out there. We're going to talk about the gambling amendment.
I don't care
if they're like, well, I'm going to vote for it or against it. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't care.
No.
What's going on with this thing I'm in the office to talk about. But I am asking you to say, if those are your values, if those are your morals, can I trust you with my life and health?
Yeah, and I don't think so.
Yeah. All right, let's see what Steve has to say here. Hey, Steve, you're on News Talk STL. Got about a minute for you.
Hey, guys. I agree with most of what you're saying. Certainly, I would switch doctors if I knew a doctor performed abortions or supported Amendment 3. For the same reason, I couldn't trust him with my own life. But I did want to add some nuance to what you said about the medical professions being captured. And to a large extent, I agree. I worked with surgeons and physicians for 30 years. Being in the operating room with them every day. So, of course, all kinds of conversations took place. I will say that supporting what you say, the physician organizations in the establishment has certainly been overrun and overtaken and captured, as has most of the hospital organizations and hospital management.
And med schools.
Yeah. But individual physicians are still highly individualistic. They have been mostly cowed by the system. They're basically held hostage for their income, for their jobs, as they were in COVID. There were a lot of these guys that didn't agree what went on with COVID, but they felt powerless to do much about it. So to assume that every doctor out there is liberal or supports this sort of thing, I think is a mistake and doesn't do them justice. So there's a little bit of nuance there. Certainly from a political aspect, the organizations, if you look also like membership, the AMA, only a very small percentage of doctors across the nation belong to the American Medical Association. It's tiny. So I just wanted to throw that 2 cents worth in to kind of counterbalance to, the all doctors are liberal argument.
Sure.
Not that you said that.
Right.
I don't want people to get that assumption.
I think Steve just dropped us.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Did you just drop us, Steve?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just my phone fell.
Now my head hurts.
I think you
Sorry
just
about
dropped us.
that.
All right. Hey, Steve. Hey, appreciate the news, man. Thanks for being there. We've got to run to an information
Do I
segment.
pick up the phone or I just yell loud?
Yeah, there you go. And but yeah, that's like I said. If you see your doctor's name on that list, so
Yeah.
hundreds of doctors put their name in Missouri on that list. So it might be worth looking that up to make sure your doctor's name is not on the list. And if that doctor's name is, maybe it's time for a tough conversation with them. I'm not saying quiz your doctor about their politics. That's not what I'm saying. But if you see them actively go out and argue for this, I think you got to ask some questions.
I'm not even asking questions. I'm leaving.
There you go. All right. Just ahead here, fastest growing demographic in America, Hispanic Americans. And their vote is becoming more and more important. And it is up for grabs. They are not, they made it very clear. Neither party gets to assume that they have their vote. Let's talk about that at 6:35.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Well, come on and let me know. Should I stay or should I go?
The Allman Report.
Hey, Wednesday on the Allman Report, the Gallup poll says beware of young women. Really? That's all on the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
Jamie Allman. Weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. We will still be enjoying lots of sun today. However, I do expect some clouds to bubble up briefly in the afternoon. Winds remaining light out of the south, just around 2 to 7 miles per hour, and temperatures on the warmer end of things reaching 90 degrees. Now, tonight we fall into the 60s. We're still in the 90s for both Thursday or Friday. Watching for some rain chances over the weekend as well as cold fronts. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Tim Jones here for AMF Electric, which has been in business since 1989, offering a full line of industrial, commercial, and residential electrical and systems services. AMF's residential department will serve all of your wiring needs, including emergency repair, expansion, or new builds. AMF Electric also fully experienced in commercial installations, including food service, medical and dental services, and office expansions. Call them 314-647-4066. Online, amfelectric.com, amfelectric.com.
Hey, Colombo here for the great team at All Solutions Pest Control. We've been using pest control services at our home for years, and the results we've had with All Solutions are second to none. So if you're experiencing a pest problem, or more importantly, want to prevent a problem, All Solutions Pest Control are the ones to call. Right now, you can take advantage of their incredible $67 introductory offer. Learn more and contact them now at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Hello, fans of the paranormal. I'm Frankie, host of the newest show on News Talk STL on a Garage. And we'll be discussing everything paranormal, from ghosts, demons, hauntings, and aliens to skinwalker, Bigfoot, fairies, and the Chupacabra. Every Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., me and Jeremy will discuss mysterious events in St. Louis and surrounding areas, including gateway families and unsolved true crimes. That's right. It's all right here exclusively on News Talk STL from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday night.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the morning. The Vic Porcelli Show. Colombo and Company. Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
All right. We still, at least on paper, kind of somewhat divide ourselves up by demographics, especially around election time in this country. At least the pundits, the campaigns tell us to think in terms of groups.
Oh, and certainly the polls.
Yeah. Probably, I would say definitely the fastest growing voter block group would be Hispanic Americans. And they made it very, very clear that neither party can assume that they have their votes. That's one of the things that makes them not even just more interesting, but more powerful when it comes to election time. So where do we go from here? By the way, Friday, Flashback Friday, just a couple days.
Bring it on.
That's right. Get your 80s bump music request in for this week. Got to get them in by tomorrow afternoon. So light up the comments and the email. Let us know what you want to hear.
We got a few in already this week, and the deadline's 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon.
So there you go. Joined now by Alfredo Ortiz from the Job Creators Network. Alfredo, good to chat with you again. Thanks, man. Thanks for being on the show. You all sent me a note a little bit earlier this week. The Hispanic Vote Coalition is speaking up specifically regarding the SAVE Act. And for a lot of people in the press, a lot of people in the media, they're going to assume that something called the Hispanic Vote Coalition is going to be angry about the SAVE Act. But the Hispanic Vote Coalition says, yeah, the SAVE Act, election integrity, that's all good thing. And so it's counterintuitive to a lot of people out there. So when we talk about the Hispanic Vote Coalition, what is that organization itself?
Yeah, good morning. So the coalition is basically a combination of 3 different groups led by Job Creators Network, which I'm the head of. But it's also the National Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference and an organization called Bienvenido. And so it's the 3 of us truly believe that the SAVE Act is basically just common sense requirement for proof of citizenship, which, look, all Hispanics, I mean, it's a 90% issue across this country. And Hispanics who are here legally in this country feel as though, wait a minute, why would it be right for a non-citizen to vote in our election? It just does not make sense. And so we formed this coalition called the National Hispanic Vote Coalition to be able to speak out, because a lot of times Democrats try to put words in our mouths as Hispanics. And guess what? We don't like that, and we don't believe that. And we wanted to speak out to make sure that people understood that, yes, legal Hispanics in this country believe that illegals should not be voting in our elections.
Real quick, I just want to point out your comment about Democrats want to put words in your mouth. I know that Gabe has a question. Gabe, as a black man, have you ever heard about the Democratic Party wanting to put words in anybody's mouth?
Yeah, no, I've encountered that once or twice.
Okay, just saying.
But good morning, Alfredo. Gabe Pfeiffer here.
Good morning, Gabe.
So my wife is an immigrant from Canada, and I know a few immigrants from other locations and around the world. And to a person, they all really, really hate illegal immigration. They hate that the whole idea that somebody could kind of just come across the border and get benefits when they actually came through the front door and went through all the hoops. I imagine it's kind of the same for those in the voter coalition from the Hispanic community.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And don't get me wrong, the issue at the border is something that Hispanics are concerned about, but really it's the criminality, first of all, that they're mostly concerned about. But they don't believe also that illegals should be able to vote. I mean, because they also understand that, look, a handful of votes can truly swing an election. I mean, remember the last election, Biden just squeezed it out in 3 states with 44,000 votes. It's an electoral college, how we vote for president, right? And so if you even they're bringing in millions of people, they're flying in millions of people that are illegals into this country, and they're getting them to register to vote. And if 44,000 votes in 3 states across Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin swung the last election, this can make another huge difference, and it's just not right.
Good morning, Alfredo. Stal Ponticus here. Do you see a difference in the Hispanic communities across the country regarding this issue? In other words, are Hispanic communities, let's say in Chicago or St. Louis, different than those in El Paso and San Antonio regarding this issue?
Yeah, that's actually a really great question. There are differences also in terms of generations. And I think the younger generations, I would say, probably are more open to having illegals come in and maybe even vote in our elections. But across the board, those who are, multi-generational here in our country are the ones that I think mostly believe that, because they did it the right way. They came across there, or their parents came across, the border the right way through a legal process. And they believe that everybody should come here through a legal process. And so, again, we just thought that the Hispanic Vote Coalition was important as Hispanics to be able to speak up and to be able to make sure that people know that we aren't monolithic, and we all don't think like the Democrats that illegals should be voting in our elections. We just do not believe that.
We are visiting with Alfredo Ortiz from the Job Creators Network. And I think that situation where you say you're not voting monolithically, that is kind of where I started the conversation here, because we're hearing that increasingly from Black Americans saying, don't assume because, or whether it's even other, groups that we tend to, all the consultants and the pundits want to move people into. Is there any kind of evolution or changing when it comes to demographic communities? I mean, there are times to speak as one, and there are other times to say I'm completely individualistic. I just think the fact that we've come back a couple times to say stop thinking of me as part of a monolith is really interesting, and in a lot of ways a really positive thing.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. Look, what makes this country great, and we all know that, is we are a melting pot, right? A multicultural melting pot, and that's wonderful. That's what made our country, the way it is. But we have a system of laws which has also made this country great. And so, from that perspective, this particular SAVE Act is really there to safeguard our elections from making sure that people that shouldn't be here, right, that are not legals, shouldn't be messing in our election. And so, overall, though, I will tell you that Hispanics, guess what Hispanics are, according to the Democrats, all the Hispanics care about is, dreamers and the border, right? Guess what? They care about the economy. They care about jobs, education. They care about the fact that they can't pay for groceries. They can't pay for gas. The electricity is twice as much as it was under the Trump administration. They pay for all those things that, quite frankly, white people, Black people, Hispanics, Asians, right? We all are worried about, and we're all suffering the misery under this administration versus where we were under the previous administration, the Trump administration.
So, Alfredo, with the Job Creators Network, obviously with the SAVE Act, and that's the controversy over that, is part of the funding bill to keep the government actually up and running, which affects, jobs and businesses and all sorts of other things. So when you look at Congress and the Democrats are saying, no way, no how, Chuck Schumer called the SAVE Act a poison pill the other day. They're willing to let the government funding run out. They keep promising me a government shutdown, but they never deliver it, Alfredo. I'm getting frustrated with them teasing me with the government shutdown all the time. But what's the bigger picture on this, and saying, let's say that they don't come to a continuing resolution. I think they will. But if they don't, what's the effect then on the economy from JCN's perspective?
Well, look, I mean, we as a country do not benefit from government shutdowns. Although I would love for probably maybe in the White House, I wouldn't mind if those gets all shut down. But but overall, folks need to get their know that the economy just can keep running, and that folks who, like their Social Security, veterans, etc., that there's no interruption in their services. I know that Congress will make sure that doesn't happen, but still, it's so disruptive to have it, especially before an election. Look, we want to make sure that Americans are focused, especially in the last 30 days or so before an election, that they're focused on the facts and the policies of two different candidates. And quite frankly, from an economic standpoint, and as the president of the Job Creators Network here, right, there's one that clearly talks and shows about how to create more jobs, which is under the Trump administration. We know that. We saw that. We all experienced that. And then one that has economic policies that, quite frankly, I don't know what her economic policies are. I keep trying to hear and read about it, but all I hear is gibberish, right? An opportunity. What does that actually mean? How are you going to get there, right? And we need to have Americans focus on the facts and make sure that they are understanding who they're actually voting for and what they are voting for.
All right, and we learn more about what you all are doing. If people want to get involved with or connected with Job Creators Network, they do it how?
JobCreatorsNetwork.com, or a little more easily, JCN.com.
All right, easy enough. All right, Alfredo, we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. All
right, a lot of news to cover here. We'll get you brought up to date on what's happening right around 6:49 here, 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is 101.9 and 94.1.
I have to tell you, if this is how they're going to behave, I'm rethinking my position.
News Talk STL.
Attention thrill seekers and fun lovers. Did you know the Midwest's largest wooden roller rink is right here in Missouri? Welcome to Piccadilly Palace, your ultimate family entertainment destination. Glide across our massive skating floor, conquer arcade challenges, put your way through mini golf, and dive into cutting-edge virtual reality experiences. And coming soon, a relaxing bar and grill patio, state-of-the-art golf simulators, and heart-pounding two-story go-kart racing next to East Central College in Union, Missouri. Plan your visit now at PiccadillyPalace.com. That's PiccadillyPalace.com.
Replacing your roof is always a big deal and a big decision. That's why I want you to call my friends, the folks that we've trusted with our homestead, Eureka Contracting and Roofing. 636-938-ROOF. That's 636-938-ROOF. They are veteran-owned, over 30 years of experience in the construction and insurance industry. They'll replace 100% of your roof, siding, fascia, and gutters. They'll come to you with a personal consultation. Give them a call anytime that Mother Nature strikes you. 636-938-ROOF. Available 24/7 at eurekacontracting.com. That's eurekacontracting.com.
History, wine, spirits, food, and music, plus an awesome name. That's the Old House in Hog Hollow. This beautiful historic home's been turned into a wine bar and event venue that can host any and all of your gatherings. Take a tour while enjoying a glass of wine and see all the original features that are still around from the 1850s. Open Thursday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and brunch, with live music on select dates paired with wine tasting. Find them at 14319 Olive Boulevard in Chesterfield or online at oldhouseinhoghollow.com.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo for my friends at A Plus Plumbing and Drain, and they truly are our friends because they have done it all at our house over the years, from putting in a new faucet to installing a whole new bathroom from scratch. The team at A Plus has always done great work for a great price. A Plus Plumbing and Drain is a local family-owned business that can take care of all your plumbing needs and specializes in new construction and home renovation. Call A Plus for your next project at 636-288-7126 or through Facebook at A Plus Plumbing and Drain.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Danny Define here with the Next Gen, all new time this Sunday at 8 p.m. Now pour up a hot cup of coffee and tune back into the Mike Ferguson Show.
All right, do no harm. That's something your doctor is supposed to take seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why are so many Missouri doctors embracing abortion?
It's a good question.
Yeah. Also, and I thought I was clever, and I thought that I thought of this, but apparently other people are going with it as well. Beep, beep, boom.
Gotcha.
I guess if you don't want your hips blown out, don't be a terrorist.
Why do I keep picturing Wile E. Coyote?
Oh, man.
Poor guy.
Me, boom. All right, maybe just finishing the season over 500 and getting into second place again could be the best we hope for when it comes to the Cardinals. Actually, that is the best we can hope for at this point. All right, it is 6:49. Let's dump some news on you here.
Wake up, America. It all worked out.
They got all the news.
The morning news stuff.
Well, that conversation we had about this a little bit ago was really fascinating. Hundreds of medical professionals, basically doctors, sign on to a letter in support of the pro-abortion Amendment 3 in Missouri. We're talking about 800 or more doctors around the state. Now, some media reports are quoting some of the doctors repeating false claims about Missouri's current pro-life laws. Among the false claims that abortions are not allowed in the very rare cases where the physical life of the mother is at risk. That is simply not true, but I have seen it in story after story after story. So 800 plus doctors have signed on asking voters to approve Amendment 3, which would basically allow essentially unrestricted abortions up to and through the third trimester, and also would basically make it impossible to hold doctors or other medical professionals accountable if and when they mess something up and actually harm somebody through malpractice.
Yeah, it's a horrific idea that people who are supposedly dedicated to the life and health of their patients could sign on to something like that.
Yeah, and the idea that a doctor would sign on to that. So, it may behoove everybody to look at that list of 800 doctors, make sure your doctor isn't on that list. And if they are on that list, have a conversation in your household about whether you would trust your health to somebody who advocates for something as barbaric as what Amendment 3 will allow.
Yeah, it's
just
horrific.
a suggestion.
Yep.
All right. Vice President Harris spoke with Donald Trump following the attempted assassination on the former president's life.
The 2024 presidential nominees talked on the phone Tuesday afternoon. According to the White House, the vice president called to speak with Trump directly to express her gratitude that he is safe. It was described as a cordial and brief conversation. The call came one day after President Biden spoke with Trump. He too conveyed his relief that Trump was unharmed after a gunman was found near him on the golf course Sunday. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Brief and cordial is probably an understatement. I think this might be one of those, well, we have to do it.
You all right? Yeah. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Glad you're fine.
You don't think Trump was expecting a card or anything, do you?
No, I don't think so. I don't think
Get
so.
Get a fruit basket. Glad you're okay, fruit basket.
Yeah.
But it might have explosives in.
No, yeah, precisely. All right. Well, and of course, the fact that the would-be assassin got as close as he did and was able to sit there for a while is still bringing up even more questions among the Secret Service. So there's the good news is that the agents on the field, the agents there spotted the threat.
Yes.
The bad part of this is how in the world was the threat able to get there and be there for so long? On Fox Business's The Evening Edit, Senator Marsha Blackburn, Republican out of Tennessee, says she's still got a lot more questions.
Why weren't there drones? Why weren't there dogs? Why were they not going through and watching more closely?
Yeah, I mean, I think those are absolutely fair questions.
You know, we were talking off air about how the Secret Service used to be secret. You know,
Right.
these threats are already going to exist. They're going to exist for every single president and vice president for time immemorial. But we in the past, we didn't used to hear about the plots or the foilings of the plots because the Secret Service was secret. They used to do their job in the shadows and just keep everybody safe, and we all could just sleep, happy underneath that blanket of protection. But right now, these things are in the news because the incompetence is showing. There are cracks in the armor around our president, and that's not a good thing.
Right, and this is what happens when it becomes more political.
Mm-hmm.
And the Secret Service, I mean, at any given time, it's assumed that there are multiple people plotting to try to kill our political leaders.
Yeah, about half a dozen at any one time.
At any given time.
Mhm.
And they are serious trying to do it.
Yes.
So that would mean that over the past century, there have been hundreds, if not thousands, of assassination plots foiled by the Secret Service.
In silence.
Right. But one of the parts of the effectiveness is that nobody knows about it.
Mm-hmm. We got no names. We got no
Right.
suspect. They just simply disappear.
Right.
Like that's how I prefer the would-be assassins of presidents to just disappear.
Right. You know, or there's a little note. Oh, this person was picked up for trying to do this. We go, oh wow, actually prosecute him. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's all in the spotlight, and I don't think that's a good thing. Other than there are clearly glaring errors and a cultural problem and a competency issue, and we need to know that whether the president is a Republican or a Democrat, we need to know that they are going to be protected to the fullest human level possible in doing their jobs.
Yeah, the confidence is waning here,
Yeah,
guys. So
exactly.
we need to pick it up.
All right, let's talk about the border illegal immigration here. Governor Greg Abbott out of Texas says his state is taking action against the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, calling the group a foreign terrorist organization. Senator Ron Johnson, Republican out of Wisconsin, talks about that and other gangs from South America on the Evening Edit on Fox Business.
When I was chairman of Homeland Security, I would go down to Central America, and you would hear tales of some of the most brutal gangs and what they did. They almost make ISIS look like choir boys. They're awful.
4 Venezuelan nationals and members of Tren de Aragua have been arrested in Aurora, Colorado, after a shooting near that apartment building, which was essentially completely taken over by the gang that we saw, on the news, 2 weeks ago or something like that. So it's happening out there, even if a lot of people are trying to get that to be more low key and get that off of our radar right as we go into an election. Imagine that, but it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, families of the victims of the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse announce a lawsuit over their loved one's death.
Okay.
There's a national Latino advocacy organization called CASA, and its executive director, Gustavo Torres, was talking about the lawsuit yesterday.
The loss of these 6 lives has destroyed their worlds, leaving their loved ones in pain and anguish forever change.
The families are suing Grace Ocean Private Limited for trying to hold them legally liable for that collapse, which was caused when a cargo ship crashed into the bridge back in March. 8 workers doing maintenance on the bridge were thrown into the water. 6 of them died. You'll remember the port was closed for months, and tens of millions of dollars, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in economic damage ensued as well.
I'm surprised at how long it's taken to get this lawsuit off the ground.
Yeah.
I thought this would have happened within weeks.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there's just a lot to draw up.
I don't know.
But if there's not a settlement quickly, then I think we're talking about a massive judgment, and this company should be held accountable for it. Absolutely. All right, the Cardinals get a second win in a row over the Pirates last night. Lance Lynn gave up only 4 hits and 1 run over 6 innings. It was a 3-1 victory. Jordan Walker had a home run in the 4th inning. Game 3 of the 4-game series is this evening. Sonny Gray going to be on the bump for this one. First pitch is at 6:45. Cardinals now 1 game over 500.
September is hopping in Mount Vernon, Illinois. Every weekend, enjoy festivals and events, including Market Day season finale, 3rd Saturdays in Mount Vernon Flea Market and Vendor Fair, concerts at the Granada Theater, special events at C.E. Brem Memorial Library, Rev Up at Mount Vernon Fall Fest, Cedarhurst Ironclad Art Motorcycle Show, and so much more. Celebrate creativity redefined all month long in Mount Vernon, Illinois. Learn more at enjoymountvernon.com. Brought to you in part by Mount Vernon Tourism and Enjoy Illinois.
Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta, now open in the district of Chesterfield Valley. Napoli has the only coal-fired pizza oven. That means an incredible taste you cannot get anywhere else. So enjoy a unique pizza at Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in the district. And then walk a few doors down and enjoy premium cigars and drinks at Lit Cigar Lounge. There's a perfect way to end the evening. Napoli Pizza followed by Lit Cigar Lounge, a winning combination.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-467-2766. 800-467-2766. 800-467-2766.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Lebanon-based Hezbollah has taken a major hit after pagers used by many of its terrorists blew up. Thousands wounded, at least 9 people killed. Hezbollah and Lebanon's government blame Israel for what may be a highly sophisticated remote-controlled operation.
There's not been any comment from the Israeli military or from the Israeli Prime Minister's office, but we know that there has been a raise in the state of alert among the Israeli Air Force, military intelligence, in anticipation of a possible attack by Hezbollah. In response, Hezbollah, of course, has said that it was its criminal enemy, Israel, who was responsible for carrying out this attack and has promised a severe punishment.
The BBC's Yolande Nell in Jerusalem. With former President Trump the target of 2 assassination attempts, Republican Senator Roger Marshall of Kansas says it's
what appears to be open season on presidential candidates you don't like. Last week, President Trump warned us on the debate stage about the hatred and lie being spread by the left and the mainstream media, making him a target.
Congressional Republicans say it's time for Trump's detractors to tone down the hateful rhetoric, and this time to really do it instead of just talking about it after each assassination attempt. Mr. Trump says that only consequential presidents get shot at. Well, today, the Federal Reserve expected to announce an interest rate cut.
This is going to be very helpful for the economy because the Fed's benchmark rate has been at a very restrictive level, and FOMC members know that it's too restrictive with respect to where inflation has been recently.
Bankrate.com's Mark Hamrick anticipating the long-awaited rate cut. Wall Street futures have been higher this morning. The Dow futures up 45 points. NASDAQ futures 32 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You just grin and bear it or bite the bullet when it comes to everyday pain? Don't. Try Relief Factor, a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. It's 100% drug-free. It's developed by doctors. In 3 weeks or less, you'll know whether it works for you like it works for me. Try Relief Factor for yourself. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Tom Kelly's carbon fiber mountain bike. Because more than riding his carbon fiber mountain bike, Tom loves telling people about his carbon fiber mountain bike. Friends, family, even a local barista knows about his carbon fiber mountain bike. And that's why Tom's carbon fiber mountain bike, if you haven't heard about it, is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. We will still be enjoying lots of sun today. However, I do expect some clouds to bubble up briefly in the afternoon. Winds remaining light out of the south, just around 2 to 7 miles per hour, and temperatures on the warmer end of things reaching 90 degrees. Now tonight we fall into the 60s. We're still in the 90s for both Thursday or Friday. Watching for some rain chances over the weekend as well as cool fronts. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Dreaming of upgrading your outdoor space? STL Fenceworks is the choice for you. Our skilled craftsmen build custom fences from modern vinyl to classic ornamental, fitting your style and budget. Elevate your outdoor living with low-maintenance decks designed to relax and entertain. We choose only top-quality American-made materials, ensuring your project is built to last. Your satisfaction is our passion. With over 50 years of experience, custom designs, and exceptional customer service, visit stlfenceworks.com today.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple thought Darian.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
I went to grab my cup of coffee for the Kofifi dance.
And you made the coffee, right?
And I made the coffee, and my coffee mug is sitting on the coffee machine.
Yeah.
Getting cold because I forgot to bring my coffee mug back in here.
Dang it. You're not making the Kofifi great again now, Mike.
So, did you have imaginary coffee? Is that
I
what you were
just kind of waved my hands around.
It's like the imaginary right fielder.
Jeez.
It's
yeah,
okay.
Really.
It's all right.
Oh, man. Jay Monty watches us from Georgia. He says, I hate to dance and run, but due to some work appointments, he's got a ton of work, so he had to dance and run. So if you do your daily Kofifi dance, somebody record it and email it to me.
Yeah.
Mike at newstalkstl.com. I want to see
Absolutely.
the best Kofifi dances out there. You get to see ours every day.
Yeah, seriously.
And ours are really bad.
Yeah.
So you can send yours in here. All right.
Might give us some ideas.
That's right. 706. Shake your groove thing. Stell's here. Gabe's here. I'm Mike. Have you looked into this gambling legalization amendment that Missourians are voting on?
I haven't looked at it very closely.
I want to talk about this for a few minutes. Amendment 3 obviously getting so much attention. Matter of fact, during that last information segment, I got an email from the Family Research Council in Washington, D.C., specifically saying here are 10 reasons why you should vote no on Amendment 3. Rightfully, Amendment 3 is getting a lot of attention, but we have like 5 or 6 on the ballot. So we're going to go into those. And by the way, Illinois residents, you've got 3 what are called advisory question referendums. And we are going to be talking about those as well in the near future, because a couple of those are just nuts.
Right. As always, right?
Yeah,
there's a few nuts things in there.
So it looks like there's going to be a pretty spirited campaign both for and against this. And the reason I looked into it.
You can bet on it.
You were sitting and waiting like the crouching tiger, hidden dragon.
You have to give yourself.
There you go. He was waiting.
Give it. There you go.
He was waiting. It's like when I pick up the little toy mouse and I wiggle it, Rosie goes into that pounce
the crouch.
position.
Wiggle,
Stell was
wiggle.
waiting for that.
Gotcha.
There it is. Nicely done. But I looked into it because I saw the ads both for and against. Are on. I saw them on YouTube yesterday.
Yeah,
but
I
them in
did
my
see one
social media as
recently.
well.
Yeah, I was like, and I meant to go back and look. I was like, is that true?
Right. And so I'm going to be reaching out, obviously, to the political action committees behind both the for and against one. But I want to kind of put this on your radar screen here. 314-912-1019. By the way, still ahead here, right around 720. They blew up their enemies' pagers. This is so fascinating to me. Israel strikes with a strategic brilliance I don't think any of us could have ever thought of in a million years. And so we'll talk about that. All right. So Amendment 2 is what we're talking about here. This is going to be the one that, if passed, would legalize sports gambling, sports betting in Missouri. And there's probably a lot of people who say, wait a minute, it's illegal to bet on the game? Well, technically in Missouri, it is.
Oh, boy.
Technically speaking, it actually is.
Yeah, technically. Nobody pays attention to that, though.
Well, I know, but if you go bet online, you have to either do a VPN,
yes, that's true,
or you have to go to wherever you place bet. I'm not a gambler, but wherever you place the bets, either in Illinois or other states around Missouri to do it. And so the argument is that Missouri is leaving a lot of money on the table by doing this. So Amendment 2 was drafted. The Chiefs are behind it. The Cardinals are behind it. The Royals are behind it. I think that's about it for pro sport. Maybe Sporting KC, if you want to call that a sport, or a City
SC.
Yeah, if you want to call it. Sporting KC is actually in Kansas.
Football.
So here's the thing. We're talking big money. Just to have the license, there's an upfront charge of $500,000.
Oh, wow.
There's a 10% tax on the revenues. So we're talking big money that would come into the state. And DraftKings and all of these are putting a huge amount of money, saying, fantastic, we'll pay it. No worries, no problem. Chump change compared to what they're going to make. The Cardinals would have to pay it, and the Royals and the Chiefs will have to pay it as well. And so my initial thought, let me tell you about the evolution of my thought on this. Initially, I thought, I don't care if you want to bet on the game.
Right.
I mean, what do I care? It makes no difference to me.
It's the libertarian argument.
I mean,
right.
I've tossed in a few bucks on the NCAA pools. The
office pools, the
office pools,
technically illegal office pools that happen every year for March Madness.
Yeah, people make bets on the playoffs or the Super Bowl or the Worlds. I don't care.
Right.
I work too hard for my money. I don't personally do it, but whatever. And so I thought, it was just about legalizing that because the teams want a cut of the action.
Right.
Right now the Cardinals are like, we could be generating a lot of revenue because we would get a piece of the action when people are betting on us or against us. And they want that. Okay, whatever.
Sure.
And then I see the pro Amendment 2 ads starting, and they're all about this guarantees that the tax revenue goes only to public schools. And that's their big thing.
Right.
I'm like, well, now you're losing me.
Money for the kids.
I'm like, because we spend too much money and we waste too much money on public schools as it is, because they're not doing the job. We're not getting a return on the investment. So it's just more more money that would go to, DEI and LGBT and
Still
not
feeding that beast.
not actually educating kids.
Right.
So now I'm like, well, but still, if somebody wants to bet on a game, I don't care. Well, now there's an organization that is filed paperwork to oppose this, and they're raising money. I don't know where it's from, but it's basically, I actually took a picture of the name of the website. It is, let me go back to my pictures here, because I just snapped it's noamendment2.com.
Right.
Is what they're calling themselves.
I think I saw one of their ads, and it was saying something like, there is no taxation required on those things. It's like it was pointing out some language in the document. I was like, is that true?
Yeah, I don't know. See,
what is happening? Yeah, exactly.
And so when it comes to Amendment 2, it's like, okay, there's a lot of money. And by the way, there's another amendment that has to do with gambling, in that under Missouri's Constitution, when we legalized riverboat gambling, the people, we vote on whether or not to allow the state to issue another license. And there's another place in Missouri that wants to build a riverboat casino.
Okay. Wow.
Right.
There's that much money that we need another one.
There's a demand for it.
Jeez.
There's a big demand.
That's
for
what
it.
I mean. It's like that. I didn't realize the demand was that big.
Yeah.
Still.
So I don't know how many riverboat casinos there are now, but there's one part of the state that wants one, and so you're going to be asked whether or not to allow the state to issue the permit or license in order to do that. But on Amendment 2, what you're being asked is whether or not this system goes into place. Now, one, it's to allow you to bet on the games in Missouri.
Right.
So you could go to Hollywood Casino and place a bet on the game, or you could go to DraftKings and legally place the bet on the game and not have to VPN around it and become a fugitive from justice for placing a bet on whatever game you want to bet on. And of course, that would include, NBA and NFL and Major League Baseball and MLS,
all the above,
and all of the above on those things. And so I actually am kind of conflicted on it at this point. I'm leaning towards voting for it just because I think it's silly to make it illegal to place a bet on the game, even though I think it's not what I would do with my money. I personally would not go, and I've been to casinos to go to the restaurants and to go to like charity events in their ballrooms. I've never been on a casino floor itself, other than walking through them in Las Vegas to get to my hotel room.
Well, it's the same thing as any of the other vice votes that we've seen,
Right.
including the marijuana vote. It's just like, hey, it's not my cup of tea, but who am I to tell you not to do it?
Right.
That's the argument.
That's the libertarian to me.
Right.
Yeah. So we're going to talk to both of these activist groups here, but I think it's interesting that you're going to start seeing and hearing both sides of this come out swinging and wanting this to be defeated, because there may be people who say, I think it should be illegal to bet on sports in Missouri, but not this plan.
Okay.
And that's what I want to learn more about.
Yeah. So we had similar arguments with the marijuana. It's like, this is basically the
Yes.
exact same thing as the marijuana. It's like
Right.
there you got the pro bros, and then the anti folks, and then the people is like, well, yes, but not like this.
See, and here's the thing: is this amendment was drawn up by those who will profit from it.
Yes.
So literally,
Yeah.
the sports teams and the gambling companies, they're the ones, their groups, they're the ones who literally wrote what you're about to vote on as to whether or not it should go into the Missouri Constitution.
So if you think that it's a fair and across the board sort of piece of legislation, as opposed to one tailor made for those who wrote it, you're an idiot.
Well, yeah, I mean they write it for themselves, and
they're allowed to.
They're allowed to do it.
Yep,
And so
you got to vote on it, though.
There are parts of it I'm perfectly fine with betting on games being legal.
Sure.
But the devil's always in the details. So just putting that on your radar there. All right, 314-912-1019. Hopefully my coffee is not too cold. That's why I'm hitting the break like on time now. I'm not missing it because I want my coffee still hot here. They blew up their frickin' pagers.
I love this story so much.
Somebody got on the computer or the phone and dialed the number and blew up people's innards. Of course, the people whose innards got blown up were terrorists.
Yeah.
From Hezbollah.
That's why we're celebrating.
This is amazing. I'll give you the details as we know them right around 7:20 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Stop right now. I have
had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now before you blow us all away. You wanna do that? Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up, get up.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Wednesday is the birthday of the United States Air Force. Guests who are veterans of the Air Force, Senator Bill Igo and his wife Amanda. We will talk all about it, about recruiting, about the Air Force, our entire 9 o'clock hour.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. The latest news.
I believe there should be consequence. We have laws that have to be followed and enforced.
He actually flew a drone in the hours before the attack.
I can't wait to debate the guy. We should be talking about public policies that matter.
Ukraine is proving that it can indeed restore justice.
As a 14-year-old, he will be charged with murder and he will be tried as an adult.
Our future and our freedom is at stake in this election.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Okay, the countdown is on towards that really cold weather here in St. Louis. Temperatures dropping, snow, ice, sleet, all the things that we're going to have.
What did you say?
I'm just saying.
Snow?
Yes, I am saying that 2 to 3 months from now, definitely 3 months from now, we are going to have really cold weather here, although it's going to be in the 80s today. That means you need to get out ahead of it and prepare and make sure your home is ready and taking care of you and taking care of your wallet. And that's why you should call my friends at Window World. Mike Ferguson here for Window World. They are simply the best for less. 314-993-1800. Let me put this up there right up front. Up to 36 months, 3 years of 0% financing. You pay these off in 3 years, and they're already less expensive than other windows. 0 interest whatsoever. It could not be easier with approved credit. 314-993-1800. Let me tell you what makes these windows work so well. You know they are double strength glass. You know they have a lifetime warranty. Also, let me talk about how important this is. They are custom cut for your home. Let's say that you decide you need to get another window. The latch isn't working anymore. It's cracked. The idiot neighbor kid shot a BB at it, whatever it is. And you're like, I need to get another window. So you go down to the home improvement store. You say, I need a window this size. You get the closest thing you can find to it. You buy it, put it in your trunk, drive it home. And now you've got to put it in and retrofit your home around that window. It's not what Window World does. They come out. They will show you the window. They will let you stand on the thing. And I've done this. I'm a 200-pound guy. I have stood on these windows, literally, without them even creaking or bending or cracking. It's amazing. And by the way, that window, once they Windexed it, that's in somebody's home right now. And it was custom cut for the home. It will be custom made for your home so that the window is made to fit your home. You don't have to try to make your home fit a cheap window. You have a less expensive window that is so energy efficient that even the most recent Energy Star ratings, Energy Star standards are no match for this. They already, when they announced the new Energy Star standards, Window World already surpassed them. Energy costs are going up. They're going to keep going up. We know that. So make sure that your home is efficient. So not only do these windows make your home safer because of that double strength glass, they also make your home more energy efficient. And eventually what happens is you save money on your utilities, and these windows are crucial in even maybe paying for themselves. 314-993-1800. Give them a call. Put them to the test. Say, Mike was talking about you guys on the radio. When you say lifetime warranty, what does that mean? All right, when you come out here, if I let you come to my home, are you going to sit here and badger me for hours until I sign a contract? Nope. Tell me about this product. These are custom made in the United States for your home. But because they're custom made, they don't just go to the warehouse and pull out a generic window. No, they custom make them for your home. So you got to have just a little bit of lead time, which means you should call them today and get your free in-home estimate. 314-993-1800. Once again, 314-993-1800. Tell them you heard about them on Mike Ferguson in the morning. And remember, speaking of upcoming cold weather, Window World, they are the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues.
Craving the most delicious pizza in town? Head to Monocle's on Highway K in the heart of O'Fallon. From thin crust to pan pizza, gluten-free options, and every topping imaginable. Monocle's has you covered. Indulge in mouth-watering calzones, party-sized salads, and our famous sweet and tart dressing. Family-owned and locally operated, Monocle's serves up love and care with every bite. Dine in or carry out, and don't forget to try our banana-licious monkey bread for dessert. Order online at monocles.com or stop in today and tell them News Talk STL sent you.
Looking for a top quality tactical gear and expert advice? Look no further than Discount Tactical, your one-stop shop for all things firearms and self-defense. Located in the heart of Warrenton, we've been serving the community for 3 years with our friendly, professional, and knowledgeable staff. From custom AR builds and silencers to the largest selection of parts, we've got you covered. Self-defense weapons, SBRs, knives, ammo, custom holsters, weapon lights, optics, and body armor. Discount Tactical. Online at discounttacticalarmory.com or stop by today and gear up with confidence.
Dive into adventure with Great American Divers. We're your local veteran-owned scuba center offering PADI certification courses, equipment repairs, and dive travel opportunities. From beginners to experts, we got you covered. Kids can join our SEAL Team classes, and we even host pool parties. Our experienced staff is passionate about teaching, and we're the only center in the area with our own indoor heated pool. Great American Divers on Central School Road in St. Charles. Visit greatamericandivers.com. Great American Divers, where adventure runs deep.
I really like all the things you're saying.
News, analysis, opinion.
Thank you very, very much.
News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday, 9 to 11, right here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
They blew up their pagers. Let's do this in emoji social media talk with the clap in between. They blew up their pagers. Isn't amazing?
Kind of gives new meaning to, well, different meaning to, my phone just blew up.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Look at all those texts.
He blew up my pager.
Hey, couple comments on some of the things we've been talking about here. I'm looking on Rumble right now. Let's see here. Donna on Rumble says we're talking about the 800 plus doctors who are asking people to legalize abortion up to an extreme fringe level. Donna says, good thing I changed doctors already. I am sure about Dr. Randy Tobler's opinions.
Hey, there you go.
Good on you.
Nice.
And then talking about the Amendment 2, the gambling, lunch lady just said, wasn't the lottery money supposed to go to schools? Yeah. Supposedly.
There's all kinds of money that's supposed to go to schools. Every time they want to raise taxes, a new budget initiative or about but any of those, they always say it's for the children.
Yeah. You want to here's an insider secret. You want to start an argument in Jefferson City?
Mm-hmm.
Talk about lottery money going to schools. Yeah, that's been going on. That argument's been going on for like 20 years now, 25 years now. I went and got my coffee finally.
Kathleen on Facebook says schools are not benefiting from casinos. If they were, the school districts that the casinos were in would be doing very well, and they are not.
Right.
Nor have they ever.
Yeah. So it's not as cut and dry of a question as you may think, just whether or not to legalize betting on the game. This is going to be an interesting conversation over the next few weeks. All right. Is Missouri at a crossroads when it comes to our politics? We're going to talk to Republican nominee for Lieutenant Governor David Wasinger about that at 7:35. So 10 minutes from right now, 7:25 right now. I couldn't believe this when I saw the news starting to come through yesterday, late afternoon. Did you guys see this?
Yeah. Kathy
and the
showed me
videos.
some stuff last night, and I had no idea until she mentioned it to me.
You know, here's the thing is I know that I'm supposed to feel more humanely even to my enemies. When you see these videos, like security videos in public places of some guy suddenly dropping and then he's hurt real bad and everything. But we know that if he's dropping, he's a Hezbollah terrorist.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pictures are coming out somehow. And this is from reporting that's been put together by the New York Post and Red State's got some reporting. And there's some others now that are saying that what happened is Israel's Mossad somehow intercepted a package or a delivery of thousands of pagers. I mean, we're talking pagers that like we used to wear in the 90s.
Yes. They're actually kind of cool looking. They had the little
Yeah,
LCD
that's right. The little
screen.
thing on it.
Yeah, I like it.
It's as though you'd go to Globe Drugs downtown in
Right.
Soulard. Hey, look, they've got pagers here. Let's buy a few boxes.
Oh man, just lined up in the little glass case.
And so here's the thing: is a lot of times, and I'm seeing a lot of people like pagers.
Yeah.
What in the world? Pagers? What?
Mhm.
What are they going to eventually make their way to Blackberries? I mean,
And a
but-
flip phone.
yeah. Here's what happened is apparently Hezbollah
Mhm.
and possibly others like Hamas and some of the others, they decided to ditch cell phones because they knew those could be tracked.
Right.
They can be located.
Mhm.
They can be triangulated. They can,
They can be
and so
pinged.
right, they can be pinged. So they went back to pagers in order to avoid being tracked.
And there was a shipment of them.
Big shipment of them.
Mhm.
And somehow Israel, apparently, according to multiple reports, intercepted them and packed them, took them out of the packaging, took them apart, thousands of these,
Mhm.
packed some kind of explosive in there, and programmed them in a way to where a certain page went through, it would explode. And that's what happened yesterday afternoon, our time.
It's so cool.
Oh my goodness.
That operation sounds so awesome to me. It
Yeah.
sounds like something out of a movie. It really does.
Nine people believed to be Hezbollah terrorists were killed. I mean, what, 2,000 something?
2,000 plus
were injured.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it wasn't like they were packing, bombs in there. They were explosive that something went bang.
Yeah.
So think of, I'm guessing, the equivalent of a very high powered firework.
Yeah, it's like an M80 or something like that on your hip.
And a certain type of explosive, which I'm not educated enough to know what it is, but apparently it doesn't take a lot of the actual substance to create a large explosion.
Might have been C4.
It wasn't C4, it was P something or other, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
Gabe, you
gotta
mentioned
remember.
the movie aspect of it, and when Kathy showed me the first couple of photos that she saw, that was exactly what crossed my mind. It looked like maybe it would have been from a Batman movie or something.
Yeah.
Where the guys are slumped over in the car
Yeah.
with the door open and there's blood everywhere. And it was a gory scene, but you look at it and think, wow, who came up with this idea?
Brilliant.
Oh yeah. Yeah, see, in the movies, the agent who has like the single remote control
That's
for all of
right.
them, he would be walking away just in
That's
slow
right.
motion, and he'd hit it, and you'd see these boom, boom,
The
boom
Joker.
in
Be the
background.
Joker walking away from the hospital.
By the way, you know that you're talking about the Heath Ledger.
Yes.
Did you know that part of that made that scene work so well was improvised?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. So he's walking away with his button thing and he pressed it
Mhm.
and everything was supposed to blow up and it didn't.
Mm.
But he stayed in character and then he acted mad and he kept pressing it
Mhm.
until they turned around and blew it because they had one chance to blow it. You only blow up the building one time.
Right.
And he just stayed in character and it worked and it became like this iconic scene
Mhm.
because he ended up staying in character.
He stayed in character during
and
the
did that,
mishap.
the little
Yep.
little thing there.
Mm.
And so in this case right here, I mean, somebody probably just programmed in a computer and sent out the thing, or literally got on a phone and dialed a certain code, and then thousands of people go boom.
It was so good.
Now were there were probably people who were around who were not with Hezbollah. Like I just saw a video from like a market,
Sure.
And of course now the narrative that we're getting is Israel hurt a bunch of innocent civilians. Israel targeted terrorists from Hezbollah.
Very specifically.
It doesn't get much more specifically than this.
This is one of the most targeted military operations in history, really. So yeah, look, there are probably a few people around. If you were really, really close to this, to the other person, you might have got hit by some plastic shrapnel,
Right.
but from the device,
right.
itself blowing up.
And there were some civilians hurt.
Yeah. But you're not getting it the same way as the
No.
people who were wearing the things.
And didn't what was it we saw just a little bit ago? One of the Lebanese ambassadors was
Mhm.
hurt.
Yes. Huh. Imagine
and
that.
all of this happened in Lebanon.
Mhm.
But and I don't know where he was the ambassador to, but an actual government official, which shows you just how enmeshed Hezbollah and terrorism is in these Middle Eastern countries.
Yeah.
So somebody's going to have to make the movie about this thing, man. I mean,
yes,
they've
I
got to.
I really want to know what they, and I want to know the specifics. I when I saw this this story come through, I was like, I really want to know how they did that.
I know.
Somewhere there's a screenwriter with exactly that idea.
Mhm.
Oh man, I couldn't believe. So Israel, Mossad, hats off to you. I mean, finding a way to micro target terrorists, literally like their belt line. Oh, jeez. All right.
The crotch shot heard around the world.
Well, as it was just put, I think it was lunch lady or no goat lady on. She goes, "Hez no ball." Oh man! All right, we're gonna have a much classier conversation with David Wasinger, Lieutenant Governor. You know that he's probably listening right now, going, "Crap, this is what I'm walking
He's
into."
like, "Oh, these guys."
When I talk to these clowns.
All right.
Yeah, we're gonna talk to David here around 7:35 on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Confusion never stops. Closing walls and ticking clocks. Gonna come back and take you home. I could not stop the tune now known. Singing, come out upon my seat.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. We will still be enjoying lots of sun today. However, I do expect some clouds to bubble up briefly in the afternoon. Winds remaining light out of the south, just around 2 to 7 miles per hour, and temperatures on the warmer end of things reaching 90 degrees. Now tonight we fall into the 60s. We're still in the 90s for both Thursday or Friday. Watching for some rain chances over the weekend as well as cold fronts. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
What can AI do for your business? Well, my friends at PRI Global can help you with artificial intelligence. In fact, they have an AI innovation lab that develops cutting-edge tools tailored to meet the needs of your company. While many AI companies overpromise and underdeliver, PRI is your trusted, reliable partner. PRIglobal.ai. PRIglobal.ai.
Larry Connor's commentary, brought to you by Vincent Jewelers, locally owned for almost 45 years. Vincent Jewelers, the official jeweler of Larry Connor's USA. Check for daily specials at vincentjewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
So did you enjoy our national holiday yesterday? Oh, you didn't know about it? Well, it's understandable. There was no day off really for anyone and no big furniture sales, but it was Constitution Day, September 17. Unfortunately, it just passed as another day, didn't it? A writer for The Federalist noted a New York Times article, recently published an article entitled, "America's Constitution is Sacred. Is it also dangerous?" He went on to suggest the answer should be simply no, but the problem is not just with the Constitution, but the ignorance of it and those who are elected who won't follow the Constitution. Which brings us to a quote from my favorite president, Ronald Reagan. He once joked, "My opponents is not just that they're ignorant, it's just that they know so much that isn't so." How true that is. Our Constitution has endured more than 200 years. And I think maybe every day should be Constitution Day.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Legends of Country Rock. With Pure Prairie League. Atlanta Rhythm Section. Richie Furay from Poco and Buffalo Springfield. And Firefall. Saturday, September 28th, the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Legends of Country Rock live.
Blue Oyster Cult is back live. Friday, October 4th at the Family Arena. with special guests Tommy DiCarlo, a former lead singer of Boston, and Jason Sheff, longtime lead singer of Chicago. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office, located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster. Blue Oyster Cult.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
Call you up in the middle of the night. Like a firefly.
Okay, here's where we're at. We've got less than 8 weeks away, Election Day. And granted, all the attention's on the presidential race.
Actually, less than 7.
Less than 7 weeks.
7 weeks, because
Okay.
it's 48 days, I think.
48
or
days.
49, right around there.
That means that we're deciding the makeup of the legislatures in both Illinois and Missouri here in the News Talk STL listing area. And on the Missouri side in particular, because Republicans are outnumbered horribly in Illinois. On Missouri side, either Republicans are going to figure out a way to govern effectively and govern conservatively, or we're just going to keep having more of the same problems in state government that has blocked big conservative ideas and conservative solutions from going into place. So where do we go from here? We're about to talk to the man who is likely to be the president of the state Senate. That's one of the titles of lieutenant governor. By the way, our social media, News Talk STL, find us everywhere, please. Here's what I'm asking very specifically. Find us, like us, follow us, and share us. Your endorsement to your followers makes a big difference, and especially as we head into the final stretch of this election. We need good information in front of as many people. So that's part of what we want you to use us to be. So if you could just tell them, like us, follow us, share us on your Twitter, your Facebook, your Rumble, your Instagram, whatever it is you've got. Let them know we're here and say, check out this radio station. Please give them a like, give them a follow.
And when you send stuff out, don't get upset or mad if you get pushback. You know, you're going to get pushback on stuff from your friends that are on the other side of the aisle. Yeah. Hey, that's fine.
And they're the ones that need to hear us the most.
Exactly.
All right. We're joined now by David Wasinger, the Republican nominee for Missouri Lieutenant Governor. David, great talking to you again. Thanks so much for being on the program here. I keep trying to beat this drum saying, hey, these elections to shape the legislature, these elections to shape the executive offices right here locally in Missouri, these are closer to our lives even than those national races. These are absolutely crucial. So when the voters, I just don't want people to show up and go, oh, who are these people? Who's running for state rep? Who's running for state? Who's this guy running for state whatever? It's crucial that people engage. Is there any kind of disconnect that you're finding between people who are so focused on the national races that we've got to remind them that we have really important local races as well?
Yeah, we are seeing that. Trump kind of sucks the oxygen out of the room. So when you visit with folks, the presidential race, in light of what, these assassination attempts and the other things that have happened, it's hard to get attention, both on the, whether you're a state rep, a state senator, or even my race for lieutenant governor. It's breaking through. You have abortion on the ballot. You're going to have a minimum wage on the ballot. You've got online betting on the ballot. So it may be difficult to get voters' attention, frankly, both as to the state representatives and the state senators. So I think we ran a good, strong primary campaign, and I think people learned about the Republican candidates, learned I was a conservative outsider, and they're tired of what's taking place in Jefferson City. So I think we got our message out in the primary. I think that's going to carry over for the general election as to the statewide candidates.
Good morning, David. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So, what do you make of the state of the GOP, the statewide GOP right now as an organization, and as we're poised to go into another session where we really, really want some big red things to get done, but we're kind of worried that we may not be positioned to do so?
I think the Missouri GOP has been dysfunctional. It has not gotten these big conservative ideas and beliefs across the finish line like they have in Florida and Tennessee and other places. A lot of this is driven, I think, by personality clashes that have taken place over the years with these career politicians. Again, I ran as a conservative outsider. I will, as you noted at the intro, I will be president of the Missouri State Senate. Frankly, guys, I don't know 80% of these state senators. I've never met them before in my life, which I think is a good thing, because I have never voted for one of these guys to be chairman of some committee or try to be House Majority Leader, and that bleeds over into the state Senate when they're looking for the next, gig to run for. So I walk in with no baggage. I walk in wide-eyed, welcome to meet these folks, and to the extent they're willing to move big conservative ideas across the finish line, I think we'll work well together, and I'm not going to have the personality baggages and these, past votes that they may have been upset about in terms of they're trying to run for some chairmanship or otherwise.
Okay. Let me follow up on that, because I'm glad that you brought that up. Obviously, with a near or full supermajority, depending on how the elections go around the state, there's not going to be a tie in the Senate, most likely, that you're going to have to break. So when it comes to being the leader in the state Senate in particular, and a leader in Jefferson City overall, what's your approach to that? Because there are still hard feelings. I've talked to a lot of the players. There are still hard feelings, and yeah, they are allowing those feelings to get in the way of things that conservatives, and I'm stressing conservatives because unfortunately there are some Republicans who aren't that conservative, but things that conservatives say we have to get done. We know we need to get them done. We know the voters want them. We know that conservatives want them, but those personality conflicts get in the way. So with a tie-breaking vote probably not on the table, what's your approach to leading them into getting these things done that we have just fallen short of year after year in recent sessions?
So what my approach is, again, I have to get through November, so we don't want to take anything for granted. But we're cautiously optimistic, we'll win in November in light of this hard-fought Republican primary victory. To the extent I win in November, this is I'm learning that this is state Senate. A lot of it's built on relationships. So, these personality clashes, I'm just not going to have. So I just had coffee with one of the more conservative members of the state Senate yesterday, and I intend on reaching out to these more conservative state senators and frankly all the state senators and seeing what their priorities are, see if we can work together. To the extent they're, again, big conservative ideas, I intend on serving as an advocate. I will be president of the Senate. I will have the dais if I want the dais, and we'll try to move these big things forward based upon these. If I'm not the tie-breaking vote, I'm going to be pushing it and working with these senators that have established relationships with to get these things across the finish line.
Good morning, David. Stalpontikas here. Not to put you on the spot, but I guess I will. Following Election Day, is there a bill or a topic at the top of your list?
Yes, crime bill. I'm in charge of tourism. Everything bleeds through, this crime. If don't feel comfortable walking out your front door, tourism doesn't happen. Economic development doesn't happen. So crime and supporting our good law enforcement and our veterans would be number one on my list. And I intend on sitting down, assuming Mike Kehoe is elected governor. I think it's a priority would be a priority for the Kehoe administration. So getting this crime under control in our, it's just not St. Louis, it's Kansas City, Springfield, Columbia. There was an AR-15 being shot in Columbia a couple of weeks ago. It's all over Missouri, and we need to get this crime under control because places like St. Louis have developed a well-earned reputation for being crime ridden, and we're not going to encourage businesses. People are scared to work downtown. They're scared to go down to the Cardinal games. It just bleeds through everything. So crime, I've met with the police trying to get their ideas in terms of how we get the crime under control. So I'm a very, very strong advocate of law enforcement, would make that a high priority.
All right. We're visiting with David Wasinger, the Republican nominee for lieutenant governor. So just last minute or so we've got when it comes to what the right solutions are, because, what's happening with, the blue areas like Kansas City and St. Louis and some of the others, and the rest of the state with the red areas, they've got different approaches to what they think a crime an anti-crime approach looks like. Is it a matter of funding and more officers? Is it a matter of penalties, and is it a matter of guns? What should that conversation be based on when you're building an effective plan? Because just a personal note, next week my mother is moving out of the Kansas City area. She had the choice to move here with closer to me and my wife, or to New Hampshire where my brother and his wife lives, and she told me that part of the reason she chose New Hampshire is because of the danger in St. Louis, and she just didn't feel safe. And so we lost out on, my mom being here, and I couldn't argue with her. I had nothing to come back on. I'm like, I get it. I understand.
Well, unfortunately, your mother is one of many. And again, we need to flip the script. So after the Ferguson fiasco, these police have been stigmatized, and what they're doing is they're having to walk around on eggshells. 15 years ago, you didn't have these cell phones where these police officers were being filmed, and they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. If they nowadays, so we need to flip the script. Right now, our great police officers are walking around on eggshells. We need to flip the script. So these violent criminals are the ones walking around on eggshells, and not our great police officers. And there's a smattering of ideas. I've met with a number of law enforcement agencies. They're in the process of getting a task force together. I think there are a lot of good ideas that would take quite a while to outline, but those will be front and center. And I'm cautiously optimistic, assuming Mike Kehoe is elected governor, that will be real high on the list, on both my list and his list, to get across the finish line if we're elected.
Okay, the website, we've already tagged them on social media. Yes, We've already tagged you on social media. People want to learn more about your campaign, maybe get in touch with you, ask you questions. How do they do it?
Okay, it's real easy. The website is davidwasinger.com, DavidWasinger. My X handle or Twitter handle is also David Wasinger, @DavidWasinger. So feel free to follow me on social media and reach out and ask any questions you have.
All right. We'll talk to you again soon, David. Thanks so much for being on.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
You got it. All right. Just ahead here. All right. This is the time of the day where I'm like, all right, let's take a breather.
Yeah.
Because by the way, at 8:05, speaking of the statewide races, Missouri is increasingly in the national spotlight over Amendment 3 and abortion. The Vitae Foundation, one of the most effective pro-life movements in America. The president of the Vitae Foundation is going to be with us, Brandy Meeks, at 8:05. Before that, you remember all those skills we used to have before the ancient days of 2000 that you don't need anymore?
Oh, okay.
Somebody asked to make a list of the skills that we used to have that were important before 2000 that just aren't anymore.
Okay. All right.
We're going to take a trip down memory lane here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
This is News Talk STL at 1019 94.1 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Runaway train never going back. Long way on a one-way track. Seems like I should be getting somewhere. Somehow neither here nor there.
Oh, Adam, you are so romantic. And I love the kitchen you found with all these great crumbs.
Yeah, baby. Only the finest crumbs in the kitchen for my favorite aunt. Oh, no. It's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
As the daughter of an OBGYN, I learned from a young age that no topic is too taboo for discussion at the dinner table. This family-centered, transparent approach to health and wellness that my dad, you may know him as Dr. Randy Tobler, created for my siblings and I is what we strive to deliver to our patients at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Sammy Tobler-Gregory with Body of Health, where relationships matter. Come learn about healthcare the way it ought to be and schedule your free discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, there are skills that we used to need, but we don't need anymore.
Back in the day?
Back in the day. Back in the day being pre-2000, which when I hear the year 2000, I'm thinking, oh, that was just a couple years ago. It was nearly a quarter of a century ago.
You realize, my goodness, yeah, it's almost 25 years.
Oh, my gosh.
So that would have been in 2000, going back to 1975.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Amazing. All right, so what's your pre-2000 flex? I found a list because the internet always is here to help us out.
The skills we don't need anymore.
The skills we don't that were really important back in the day.
Okay, so my churning butter skills are just no longer required. Okay.
All right. By the way, it's not just about the vote. It's also about winning back a culture of life. We can pass all the laws we want, and we can ban the bad stuff and destructive stuff. But in the end, we've got to re-win hearts and minds. And we've got to win hearts and minds of people, especially in Missouri. We've got a big choice to make at 8:05. Vitae Foundation President Brandy Meeks joins us here. All right, so I got a few minutes here. Somebody asked on BuzzFeed, what was that skill or those skills that you had pre-2000? That was like really impressive then. That's not impressive anymore. Anything come to mind? Because some of these, I'm like, oh yeah. I mean, I lit up when I saw.
I mean, I used to know a couple of programming languages, but they're just they're out these days.
Yeah. Yes. How to write a complete website using only HTML.
Yep.
Number 5.
Yeah.
Number 5 on the list.
Completely no longer needed.
See, top of the list for me would be beautiful cursive handwriting.
Oh, now that's interesting.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Okay. Cursive handwriting. Yeah.
Number 3.
Reading Roman numerals.
Ooh, that's a good one. Let me see here.
Is that on there?
It is not on there.
Okay, so now they used to teach it.
I literally,
Super Bowl 48. Yeah.
I was in a when I was in Christian school, in grade school, in just outside Decatur, Illinois, East Park Baptist Academy, which doesn't exist anymore. Part of our math, we actually had to do math problems in Roman numerals.
Ooh, well, there you go.
Part of what they were teaching.
I remember a young kid coming up to me. This was a few years ago, and I joke about the Super Bowl thing, but he came up to me and said, "What's a Super Bowl XX111?"
Oh,
what does that mean?
Oh no.
Okay. All right. So I've got 2 or 3 minutes here. Okay, let me go through.
Yeah.
I've got
tell us.
15 of them.
Okay.
Number 15, I'm like, okay, I get that. It's more tongue in cheek, using the word literally correctly.
Literally.
Because that candidate I don't like is literally Hitler. Now, how about this one? This one's pretty funny. Now, if you had to be at least of high school age before 2000 to understand this one, being able to survive the Oregon Trail.
You died of dysentery.
I was gonna say dysentery got me every time. Somebody said on BuzzFeed, I can make bookshelves out of cinder blocks and boards.
Oh, there you go.
I might have had an apartment or two in college that looked like that as well.
And peaches crates.
Oh yeah, that's right. No, and the milk crates as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's
milk
right.
crates.
My college buddies and I may have grabbed a few of those from Vaughn
the milk crates
back in Columbia. Programming a VCR.
Oh gosh, yes,
Yeah.
that was me. I was the designated VCR programmer wherever I went.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Goat Ladies, like I never made it to Oregon. I don't know if I knew anybody who made it to Oregon.
I did.
Of course you
I'm a gamer. Of course. I couldn't not.
I tried it a couple times. I'm like, nah.
Not for me.
How about shorthand? Remember shorthand?
Oh gosh,
For
I
taking
never
dictation?
actually learned shorthand or dictation.
My mom was great at it because
Yeah.
she was secretary to vice president of a major company. So all these notes around the house were in shorthand. We had no idea.
And that might as well have been Greek. Well,
Yes.
no, Greek you could have read. Latin, could have been Latin.
You actually know.
I love this one because I can still do this. This is still a flex for me. Being able to parallel park
Oh yeah,
without a camera.
Well, without a camera. Yeah, that's right.
Roll a load of roll of film into a camera.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Refold a map.
Oh gosh.
Yep. How about proper grammar and punctuation? And of course, being able to rewind a cassette tape with a pencil.
That's a flex right there.
Need reliable auto service from people you can trust? Look no further than Western Tire and Auto. For over 15 years, we've been your complete automotive repair center, family owned and operated, with owner Dean Kleethermes bringing 30 years of industry experience. At Western Tire and Auto, you're not just a customer, you're family. We promise 100% satisfaction, treating you with the transparency, respect, and honesty you deserve. Visit us in St. Peters or in Florissant. For appointments, call or check westerntireauto.com. Western Tire and Auto, your local automotive experts since 2008.
Ready to cut a deal? Your new John Deere compact tractor is waiting at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. Get 0% financing for 84 months with zero down, or get 0% financing for 60 months, plus save up to an additional $2,000 on select compact tractors. Come see us at one of our 28 locations or visit us online at snpartners.com and let's cut a deal today. Seidenstricker Nobe, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 10/25/2024. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
I want you to know that McGuire Moving and Storage is silver certified, which means McGuire has a quality reputation helping older adults move local or long distance. And something else to know, Josh McGuire, president of McGuire Moving and Storage, is the only certified moving consultant in Missouri. I'll tell you, once you met Josh, you're going to know your move will be easy. And I fully endorse McGuire Moving and Storage. McGuireMoving.com.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis city streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican Pat Curtis, Farber Treasurer.
KLDY HD3 Clay, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Hezbollah thought it was a good idea to use pagers instead of cell phones to keep its terrorists in touch with each other, maybe reconsidering that strategy after many of those pagers blew up yesterday, wounding thousands, killing at least 12 people. Hezbollah and Lebanon's government claim Israel is to blame. No comment from Israel. After 2 Trump assassination attempts, Republicans say it's past time for Trump detractors to tone down the hateful rhetoric and vitriol on the left. Words, they say, that push unstable people over the edge. Senator Mike Lee of Utah on the latest attack.
I don't think it's lost on anyone that had it been the sitting president of the United States,
golfing that day, the gunman wouldn't have gotten anywhere nearly that close, and it certainly anywhere close enough to have been able to carry out the attack.
Former President Trump tells an audience in Michigan that only consequential presidents get shot at. Mr. Trump also tells that audience that he's all for tariffs to level the economic playing field with communist China.
They're building these massive auto plants, and they think they're going to make tens of thousands of automobiles and sell them in here. No tax, no nothing. It's not going to happen. When you put on tariffs, tariffs are the greatest thing ever invented. You know, I took in $467 billion from China. Nobody else took in anything, and China's economy is not even doing that well.
Mr. Trump says those Chinese auto plants are under construction in Mexico. Are Americans better off today than 4 years ago? The question put to Kamala Harris the other day, her answer, she says she was raised as a, quote, middle-class kid. The Trump camp says that's no answer at all. On Wall Street, ahead of this morning's opening bell, Dow futures are up 52 points, NASDAQ futures 45 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-504-8790. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-504-8790. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-504-8790.
Advertisement sponsored
from the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. We will still be enjoying lots of sun today. However, I do expect some clouds to bubble up briefly in the afternoon. Winds remaining light out of the south, just around 2 to 7 miles per hour, and temperatures on the warmer end of things reaching 90 degrees. Now tonight we fall into the 60s. We're still in the 90s for both Thursday or Friday. Watching for some rain chances over the weekend as well as cold fronts. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Nate Lucas here for the Village Bar in the heart of Des Peres. Since 1948, the Village Bar has been the go-to destination for delicious food, cold drinks, and unbeatable atmosphere. Savor their famous wings, burgers, and onion rings, or grab a drink from their fully stocked bar. Catch all the big games and enjoy the company of their friendly staff. Plus, don't miss the 1879 Distillery, a one-of-a-kind experience right next door. The Village Bar offers the best value in town. Find the Village Bar on Facebook and come experience where history meets great times. You'll be glad you did.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Mike Ferguson.
We the people.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
It's not rocket science. Rocket science.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, there's the vote that's going to happen in November, and obviously all eyes in the country when it comes to pro-life, pro-abortion is a lot of that's on Missouri because Amendment 3 is that much of a culture swing. So there's the vote, there's the Amendment 3, but there's also the hearts and the minds that we have to win. I mean, we need to win this vote and defeat Amendment 3, but in the process, we also, I think, need to step back and say, why is this in as conservative a state of Missouri? Why is this poised to possibly go into law?
And you can blame the Republican legislators for not doing initial petition reform, et cetera, et cetera. But the fact of the matter is, in a state that is as red and as conservative as Missouri, something as fringe and extreme as Amendment 3 should never even have a chance. But we're being told that it's ahead in the polls. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 8:06 right now. Gabe's here, Stell's here, and we're now joined by Brandy Meeks. Appreciate you being here in studio, Brandy, the
Thank you.
president of the Vitae Foundation nationally. I mean, this is really appreciate, just really exciting to have you here. So we've covered so often all of the extreme things about Amendment 3 that would make Missouri, overturn Missouri's pro-life laws, literally make Missouri among the most radically, I'm not going to say pro-choice, I'm going to say pro-abortion in the state. And you were just commenting a minute ago when we were kind of getting set up here that a lot of people are being told, well, that never happened. That never happens. Don't worry about it. But things like 9-month abortions, things like third trimester, they actually are happening.
They are happening. And they're happening in a way that the other side is trying to deny them. They have a few reasons for how they can cover that. And so let's talk about that. When I was a pregnancy center director up north of Kansas City, there was a young woman, and I'm going to refer to her by the name of Nicole. And she came into our pregnancy center one day, and she was visibly pregnant in her 3rd trimester. And she came to us because she had an appointment for an abortion. And she was actually just looking for help. I think she thought maybe we would help her pay for her abortion, is why she wound up at our center. And her abortion, though, wasn't scheduled at our local abortion clinic. That's actually why I had some relief in my head when she first started talking to us, because I'm like, no one's going to do an abortion on you. You are in your 3rd trimester. She had an appointment in Boulder, Colorado, and a flight booked, right? A destination abortion state. Okay. And in that moment, I thought, you know what? This is a desperate mom going to a desperate place to do a desperate thing. And they were desperate to take her money and her baby, right? I'm so thankful that that doesn't happen in our backyard, because I wondered how many more Nicoles would be out there.
Well, now Illinois has literally an outfitted RV they will send to the border.
They will. They are also an abortion tourism state, if you will. And it's because they have let their guard down. They have allowed an agenda to walk in and own their state. And so we have to decide if that's something that we want for our state. The other thing is, a lot of these states that do later term abortions or abortion through all 9 months of pregnancy. And let me also clarify, Nicole's baby was perfectly healthy. She had a change in her circumstances where her boyfriend had left her, and she was terrified about carrying this pregnancy to term. Okay. So guess what? That's what's written in this language in Amendment 3. Is that a woman can have, and it's the exception. People don't know it. It's in the fine print. It's the exception that says government can't interfere at all if a woman has any kind of physical or mental health conditions. And this was her mental health condition. This is why the abortionist was signing off on it there. And they can have it all through all 9 months of pregnancy. And the other thing to keep in mind is that states like Colorado don't track that. So when they're saying, oh, these don't happen, you guys don't have the numbers to back them up. You know why we don't have the numbers to back them up? Because these states that do these things, there's not a requirement for them to report them to anyone. In Missouri, we have reporting requirements. The numbers are low for the number of abortions that are happening in the 3rd trimester at this point, because that's the way our laws are set up. And also, when people want to say we need to end the abortion ban because they don't have any exceptions for the physical health of the mother, that is malarkey.
Right.
That was one I really wanted to ask you about, because they're really pushing that message. I've seen all kinds of ads and stories talking about, oh, well, you know, I had an ectopic pregnancy and my doctor said they couldn't do anything because of the law, or you know, my baby died and the remains of my baby they couldn't remove because of X, Y, and Z. And this is all craziness. It's all lies. That's not what the law is preventing.
No, it's not. We need to know better as citizens of Missouri and do better, because that's just not true. They are and let me also clarify, ectopic pregnancy is not an abortion.
Right.
Hands down, full stop, right? It's not an abortion. It's about intentionality. And also, to ever save the health of and life of the mother, you don't have to purposefully end the life of a human being that's inside of her. You deliver the baby early and deliver ethical care to that child, even if they will not survive, and also save the life and health of the mother.
So we've got the voting aspect of it. We got the campaign aspect of it, but I've got to think, Brandy, we're visiting with Brandy Meeks, president of the Vitae Foundation. It also begs the question is, how do we get to the point where in a Midwestern state like Missouri, could this even possibly be a threat to pass? It tells me that we've got a lot of ground to re-win and regain when it comes to the hearts and the minds of people as well.
Absolutely. It's about social conformity. We've been silent for too long, friends. And part of it is we're scared of what to say because we don't want to say the wrong thing. But unfortunately, every single time that we do that, we might as well visualize ourselves waking up every single morning, picking up a microphone off of the nightstand beside our bed, sitting up in bed and handing it over to the other side. Because do you think that this is by accident? Do you think $9 million showed up in the other side's bank account last week after the Missouri Supreme Court decision came down? I was there that morning. $9 million shows up for them to run these ads. These are ads by the ACLU, George Soros and his fund. They are coming for our culture. And so if we want to remain a state that values things like family and real freedom, I'm not talking about reproductive freedom. Don't even get me on the soapbox on that, because they are repackaging words that are important to us. The other side is currently using language saying that we need to take control from the government and give it back to families for reproductive health. Well, last time I checked, in order to have families, you had to have babies.
Absolutely.
You know, what really irks me, and I have a question for you right after I make this comment, when you see signs everywhere and advertisements that say abortion is healthcare.
Yeah.
Healthcare heals.
Right.
Man, exactly.
Healthcare heals. There's nothing healing about abortion.
And by the way, we've come up with a comment here amongst us for kill Amendment 3, not babies.
Yeah. I liked something that somebody said the other day. If you don't know, vote no. Meaning, if you have any doubt about this, because guys, there's also a whole trans agenda thing for kids. They are coming for our kids. Please understand this. I have 5 children, right? I have lived this. I have walked this out. We also have had an unexpected pregnancy in our family. Like, this is not anything that I haven't walked out myself. And I'm sitting here pointing fingers and saying, oh, I can't have empathy for you because I haven't experienced that. We have experienced that and more, and have adoptions in our family and our immediate family. I'm just telling you from experience that they have written this so broadly that either they did it by accident or they did it on purpose. What do you think?
Yeah, I know what I think.
Could you compare Amendment 3 here with what we already see in states like Virginia, New York, Ohio, and Kansas, and some of the other states?
Again, it's the most extreme. It's the most extreme out there, and it's not grassroots. If it was grassroots, again, $9 million wouldn't have shown up in a bank account. Okay, this is not like the Missouri people that are pushing this. This is an agenda, and they have targeted Missouri because we will be a jewel in their crown should they win us. And we will become a case study for the U.S. because the way this works is that when an amendment like this goes into play, and again, this is a constitutional amendment. This isn't just some law that we can maybe overturn, have reversed later on. Like, in order to reverse a constitutional change, like, it's a big deal, right? And we shouldn't be so flippant about reversing something that has been the bedrock of what has made Missouri great for so long. But it is the most extreme of what we're seeing around. And again, it's written so broadly, so ambiguously that when things come up, yes, it won't. It will come up in individual court cases again and again and again and again. And if you think that our state tax dollars aren't going to be tied up in something like that, I don't know about you, but even for people who say, I personally wouldn't choose abortion, I don't want to make that decision for someone else, they're going to be saying, I personally wouldn't choose abortion, but I'm going to be paying for someone else's abortion. I don't want to be on that side of history. I don't want to be responsible for that. Do you?
Not, and especially with the moral aspect of it. Okay, we've got to do an information segment. Normally, I don't like call audibles like this. If you have a few extra minutes, I've
Sure.
got a couple extra questions.
Okay, absolutely.
Let's do that. Okay, Brandy Meeks from the Vitae Foundation, and then guys, we'll just do the news dump. We'll do that after the bottom of the hour and get caught up on everything else that's going on, from the presidential race to pagers exploding in the Middle East and all sorts of crazy stuff that's
I might
going
have to
on
stick
there.
around for that.
It's amazing what happened.
Yeah.
Brandy Meeks from the Vitae Foundation. Of course, real quick, we'll ask you again before you go, but website, social media.
Sure. VITAE foundation.org. That's Latin for life, in case you're trying to figure that out. And you can also find us at Vitae Foundation on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, or X.
Now it's X. That's right. Okay, so Brandy, I've got a couple more questions for you right after this.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you so much.
Stop right now. I've had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now before you blow us all away.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up, get up.
Number one for live and local
Conservative talk.
Every day, something new.
news, analysis, and opinion.
Same old tired playbook.
She's a Marxist. She's a fascist. Now she's saying, we want to build a strong border. Where has she been for 3.5 years?
He actually flew a drone in the hours before the attack. Gunmen searched online for events of both Trump and Joe Biden.
We should be talking about public policies that matter.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
We know the housing market is shifting all over the country. It's shifting right here as well. At some point in the next day or two, we're going to find out whether the interest rates are going to change, and that's going to affect your mortgages and buying and selling homes. And before you let all of that scare you off from making a transaction, before it scares you off from buying or selling a home, call my friends Rodney and Jen. Mike Ferguson here for the Walner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway, 314-810-SOLD. Now listen, these changes might actually make it to where this is not the right time. And you know what? Rodney and Jen will tell you that. Here's the story. When Rachel and I, my wife and I, first started talking about, buying that cabin property or that getaway home down in Southeast Missouri that we've been talking about forever, I was talking to Rodney about this, and it was amazing because here's somebody who makes his living on buying and selling homes, or representing people who are buying and selling their home. What 90 whatever percent of real estate professionals probably would do is say, here's somebody who says they want to buy a property and buy a home. Let's get them in the system. Let's get that contract signed. Let's go to the MLS. Let's get them something sold. Get that commission check. And you know what? That's what you do for a living. I get it. Rodney actually looked at me and goes, if I were you, I would wait. Let me run some comparisons. Let me show you what's available so you have an idea. He said, but things are about to change. It might be better for you based on the specific things that Rachel and I are looking for, several months down the road. So this guy literally said, one of my first impressions years ago was, let me tell you what's right for you so that we do it right. How many people in business do that? Rodney and Jen do that. I was so impressed, and I've been impressed with them ever since. 314-810-SOLD. Now, if you're selling a home, oh my goodness, call them now. They still have so many people looking for homes. You may not even have to list the home because there's somebody looking for a home just like yours. And they are licensed in Missouri and in Illinois as well. They know the industry. They know the economic conditions. They know the market, but most importantly, they are honest, they are ethical, and they are going to do this right. They understand that this is a massive investment for you and your family, and they want to get you the best dollar for dollar deal. That's why they sell upwards of 15 times more homes than your average real estate professional in St. Louis. Find out why. Give them a call. By the way, I'm giving you their cell number right now, 314-810-SOLD. Even if you just have a couple questions, say, Mike was talking about you. I got questions. Let's chat. They're not going to make you come into an office and sign a contract before they give you any advice. They'll hear you out, say, here's our first impression, and you can take it from there. No obligation, no pressure. 314-810-SOLD.
Hello, this is Eric from Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. If you are looking for a local family-owned jewelry store, come in and meet the Newsteaders Fine Jewelry family, a St. Louis tradition for over 60 years. Let us introduce you to unique and one-of-a-kind pieces. While here, we'd be happy to examine and professionally clean your jewelry at no charge. If it does need some maintenance, we can give you an estimate right then, and all of our repairs are done on site. Visit us at wilddiamonds.com.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at intervine.com.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Live and local.
Listen to what those local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL.
Dan Bongino here. Keep it on News Talk STL because my show starts at 11 a.m. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Most of the time when you hear discussion about Amendment 3, especially on conservative media, what you're going to hear is a bunch of browbeating and, this kind of thing, vote no on the evil amendment. And it is evil. I'm not good. But we need to understand the humanity of this and why it's so important. 8:22 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Brandy Meeks, president of the Vitae Foundation, is in with us. Thank you so much for sticking around extra because I actually just put you on the spot.
It was
perfect.
perfect.
Wait a minute. I have more things I need to ask you about. Let me start with, because you mentioned, you described, generically, but specifically, those people who say, well, I'm personally against abortion, but I don't want to. So anytime you hear, I don't like abortion, but those are the people who are going to decide whether or not Missouri becomes an abortion on demand up to 9 months. Literally, with all of the things we've been talking about, no accountability or liability from the medical professionals, even if they harm or kill a woman in the process.
Right.
All of those things, which I think our we call it the News Talk STL family, our audience knows very well about. Talk about those people, the ones who say, I don't like it, but you know what? I've been told that Missouri's laws are so extreme. I don't like it, but talk not just to those people, but for those of us who all know those people. How do we have that good faith conversation to say, listen, even if you would go farther than I would go, here's what you need to understand about this specific vote.
Right. Well, the first thing I would say, if anybody directly, if you find yourself in middle ground on this issue, and there are a lot of you out there, I've been able to talk with many of you, and I want to speak directly to you right now. If you are a middle ground person on this issue, please know that they're taking advantage of the fact that you are middle ground, right? They think, oh, we're going to be able to pass this through, and even people that would, typically vote a certain way, we're still going to be able to pull them in on this because we're going to intimidate them with the fact that women are dying and all of these stories. But if they wanted to reach you as a middle grounder, they should have written middle ground language in this amendment, and they did no such thing. They had the opportunity to offer something that was moderate, and they didn't. They offered something that was extreme, and they packaged it in a way that makes you feel comfortable with what you're opening. And I'm just telling you that if you just do a little bit of research, if you go to abortionballot.org, it's a great resource for you to be able to see what's happening in other states, but you can click on Missouri and you can see very clearly what's at stake here. And again, there's a lot of hidden stuff, and they will tell you that that's extreme and that's not really what's going on, but just go look at it. And if you have any doubts at all, I'm telling you, if you don't know, vote no, because this is what we're up against.
Yeah, because I mean, if there were a moderate middle ground one, then we would have a nuanced conversation.
We would have a different conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, I am obviously adamantly against abortion. Like I am I'm pro-life. I'm anti-abortion. Go ahead and put a label on me. I don't care. I'm here
Same.
to rock the boat. It's fine.
Absolutist
Okay?
abolitionist. Yes.
Hands are going up
Full
everywhere.
transparency
Yes.
with that. I have
Mhm.
no hesitation in saying that. But for those of you that don't find yourself in that situation, I personally wouldn't choose abortion, but I don't want to make that decision for someone else. Please read the language, read the fine print, because they are trying to just get something very high level passed through. But again, they didn't raise $9 million at a bake sale in
Mhm.
Kansas City, guys.
Mhm.
Like, this is an extreme agenda trying to push something through right underneath our noses. So we need to be informed.
Okay, so this has come up a number of times, and this is, of course, the sob stories we get in the media and everything. This woman in a terrible position, and her health is affected, and you can't take this away from them. And we know that abortion is not actual health care. We know that's not true. But the accusation that we get sometimes, we're being cruel. We're abandoning women. Especially we're demonizing women who are in that situation,
Stripping them of their rights.
who have had an abortion.
Mhm.
And the part of the culture of life is reaching out and working with women, young and otherwise, who are in that situation, have been in that situation, or those who maybe regret an abortion now. We're not trying, we want to wrap our arms around them.
Right. Absolutely. And let me just piggyback off of that for a minute and just tell you that if you are someone who has experienced an abortion, have been a part of it, there are healing resources that are available to you. A quick Google search for abortion healing will help those come top of the list. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff that's not in the media.
Right.
We are a compassionate movement of people, and we are not characterized as such. And yes, they want to make it seem like we're trying to strip women of rights. I'm expecting a grandbaby any day. She's a girl. I also respect her rights in the womb. She's a human being. She has been since the moment she was conceived. And the other side doesn't want to fight us on that battleground. So they take us off on all these peripheral issues, right? Because they know that we will lose if we go to all these issues and they appear more compassionate than we do. They take us off of the fact that human rights are for everyone, right? And because if they had to battle us on that issue, they would lose. So they do. They drag us off on these emotional rabbit holes, right? And we follow them. Friends, we need to start thinking for ourselves, right? Don't allow someone to just drag you down these emotional rabbit holes. Again, go and get the facts, understand what's clearly at stake, and make a decision for yourself. Do not just listen to the speaking points of a group that is trying to undermine everything that we've worked so hard in this country for so many years. And just a little thing about human rights here. No one should be discriminated based upon their size, their location, their ethnicity, their abilities, right?
Their
Age, any of that. We've done that before in history. That didn't work out real well for us because it was wrong then and it's wrong now. Don't let that be a distraction for you.
One thing, a couple years ago, Ireland had a national vote to legalize abortion.
Yeah, the referendum.
And unfortunately, that went the wrong way.
Right.
But, I remember seeing that on the news, and it was weird because the first thing that went into my mind was the big picture, culturally speaking. And I said to myself, you don't know what you've just done to your culture. You're not going to know for a few generations, but you don't realize what you've just done. And while media will try to find mostly dishonest narratives about individual cases and that emotional rabbit hole, I love the way you put that, by the way, Brandy, emotional rabbit hole that we chase, there's also this bigger picture that says, we're deciding who and what we're going to be.
Yeah, we are. And we're allowing other people to shape that. We are giving up our freedom with each time that we are allowing this vote to happen across the states, across the country. And I think it's time for Missouri to stand up and say, enough is enough. You can come for all of them, but you can't have Missouri, right? Yeah. And that's what we need to do as a movement of people that truly believe that states' rights are important. And this is what we need to do to be able to make that happen. Also, keep in mind, they're coming for our kids, the trans agenda, all of that. This is all lumped together
because they're wrapping that under reproductive care, literally, not to be grotesque, but literally, they're arguing that choosing to have yourself mutilated with your sexual organs is. There are people arguing that's reproductive health
as a child, without your parents' consent.
Yes. Oh, and I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
The consent laws would be
that goes the way of the
repealed.
dinosaur too, doesn't
so
it?
if you have ever been the parent of a girl, which my daughter's now going on 27, but imagine her being 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, and the law specifically saying she would not even have to come to you for this particular thing, whereas they would have to call you to say she's got a headache and she have Tylenol at school.
That's right. Consent and also notification. That's something we don't necessarily take into consideration. And again, that's how it's going to make us more extreme than states like Colorado. Because in Colorado, you have to have at least parental notification. You don't have to have a consent there. And you won't have to have that here in Missouri either. You don't have to have permission to have an abortion. You don't have to have permission to start taking any kind of transitioning drugs.
No.
You won't have to have, but you don't even have to notify the parents. So not only do you not have to be able to give approval for it as a parent, you also lose notification rights as well.
Puberty blockers is what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And speaking of the cultural question, I think the pro-abortion side seems to be fostering this culture of no hope. It's like, oh, you're pregnant and you are in this particular situation. You have no hope except for killing your child. But our message is totally the opposite.
That's exactly right. You know what? You can be a mom and have a career. Done it. You can be a mom and finish school. Done it. Like, there are lots of us out there that have chosen hope and have chosen to see the positive. And honestly, as a culture, we are better than that.
Yes.
We are better than that than deciding, because I'm telling you, real freedom doesn't begin with the ending of another innocent human being's life. Never. Never, never, never. I hardly use absolutes, but I will use an absolute there. It never begins with the ending of another innocent human being's life.
All right. And to connect with the Vitae Foundation.
Yeah.
Connect with you. They've got questions. Maybe they want resources. Maybe, and I'm hoping to God, there's somebody who's in the situation who heard what we're saying and they want to reach out and they want to talk to somebody at the foundation to help. How do they get in touch?
Please get a hold of us. Go to our website, vitaefoundation.org. We've been doing research for the past 30 years on how to communicate about this issue. If you are worried about what to say and how to say it, we have resources that are available to you so that you can, you don't have to conform to this social nonsense.
Yeah, so much more at stake than just one vote here. Brandy, thank you so much. Appreciate you being in here.
Appreciate all of you. Thank you for taking a stand.
All right. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
And now the time has come around to turn from your fighting and rest in his mercy. Choose life that you might live, the life that he gives you forever. Choose life the way that is true, from the one who chose you, your Father in heaven. Choose life.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. We will still be enjoying lots of sun today. However, I do expect some clouds to bubble up briefly in the afternoon. Winds remaining light out of the south, just around 2 to 7 miles per hour, and temperatures on the warmer end of things reaching 90 degrees. Now tonight we fall into the 60s. We're still in the 90s for both Thursday or Friday. Watching for some rain chances over the weekend as well as cold fronts. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
News commentary.
Kamala is bragging about lower border crossings, but it's really an optical illusion. I'm Tommy Laren. More next.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Kamala, who claims she was never the border czar, is bragging about border crossings going down thanks to the executive order Joe signed a few months ago. And I'm glad border crossings have gone down. But folks, this is only part of the equation. And really, it's an optical illusion, because make no mistake, the world is still pouring into our country, mostly the third world. According to newly released CBP data and reporting by Fox's own Bill Malhusian, over 500,000 migrants have flown into the U.S. and have been paroled into the country as part of the Biden-Harris administration's mass parole program. And there's more. Approximately 113,000 migrants have scheduled appointments via the CBP One app at ports of entry to be released into the U.S. It also means they don't have to count them as border crossers. Many of these migrants are also handed 2-year humanitarian parole grants, allowing them to work and take your jobs. Do not be fooled. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Attention thrill seekers and fun lovers. Did you know the Midwest's largest wooden roller rink is right here in Missouri? Welcome to Piccadilly Palace, your ultimate family entertainment destination. Glide across our massive skating floor, conquer arcade challenges, put your way through mini golf, and dive into cutting-edge virtual reality experiences. And coming soon, a relaxing bar and grill patio, state-of-the-art golf simulators, and heart-pounding 2-story go-kart racing next to East Central College in Union, Missouri. Plan your visit now at PiccadillyPalace.com. That's PiccadillyPalace.com.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
Hey, it's Vic. Are you worried about rising taxes? Well, you're not alone. With government spending outpacing revenue, many Americans fear a tax hike is on the horizon. But here's the good news. You have options. Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management specializes in tax-efficient strategies for income planning, legacy, and growth. Chris knows your money will go to one of 3 places: the government, healthcare, or your family and charities. Shouldn't your loved ones come first? Don't let Uncle Sam be your biggest beneficiary. Take control of your financial future today. Visit SerenityNowTax.com for your free copy of Chris's book, The New Holistic Retirement. Serenity Wealth Management, because you deserve peace of mind in retirement. Request your free book today at SerenityNowTax.com. That's SerenityNowTax.com to get your free copy of The New Holistic Retirement. That's SerenityNowTax.com. Serenity Now with Chris Cooper.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
You and me, we come from different worlds.
All right, that was a conversation that I hope everybody will take advantage of.
Very informative.
Incredibly informative. So what's going to happen next 2-3 hours or whatever, we're going to have this posted as a podcast. What I really encourage you to do is take that conversation with Brandy Meeks, once again, president of the Vitae Foundation. And she's not the president of the Missouri branch of the Vitae Foundation. She's the president of the National Vitae Foundation. And what I am hoping you will do, because the way that we have our podcast, what do you call it? Not platformed, but what is it? Whatever the place is you get your podcast. It's really easy, like one click, and you can send this to anybody through email or on your social media. And so what I really hope you'll do is you will take that and you will share that.
Absolutely.
Share it on your social media, especially if you know those people who, like Brandy was describing. I personally don't like abortion, but okay.
Share it to those individuals.
Share it to them and say, check this out. It's worth thinking about. Let's go get coffee.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I hope that we can do, because once the conversation obviously ends, like we had Brandy in here, this is a way to take these resources and equip you and me and everybody else to win the hearts and the minds. We get so focused on winning votes that we forget sometimes to win hearts and minds on something like this. All right. So we'll get the review of that. And also an update on a phone call between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Let's go ahead and get things going and dump some news on you.
The morning news dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The morning news dump.
Okay, just to recap what you're seeing in the headlines today regarding Amendment 3. Hundreds of medical professionals, mostly doctors, sign on to a letter, and this is all over the news media right now. They sign on to a letter in support of the pro-abortion Amendment 3 in Missouri. Matter of fact, on our social media, Gabe, you just posted that letter, it looks like.
Yeah, I found the letter itself.
You found the letter.
So skip the middleman.
So you can look on that and the hundreds of medical professionals, hundreds of doctors who have signed on to that, clearly in violation of their Hippocratic oath. But you can see, by the way, if your doctor is arguing in favor of ending innocent lives. Now, some media reports are quoting some of the doctors repeating the false claims about Missouri's current pro-life laws. And this is the crux where the media, the most generous I can think of, is that they're not calling it out. But the reality is that they're helping shape the narrative on this.
And a listener commented that guess who's on the list? Sam Page.
Oh, of course he is. He is a medical professional.
That's
isn't
right.
he?
Well, he's a doctor.
That's right.
An anesthesiologist is a medical doctor.
That's right. He's currently doing that in violation of the county charter. Also,
that does not surprise me at all. Now, among the false claims that you're seeing in the media is that abortions are not allowed in Missouri in those incredibly rare cases, minusculely rare cases where the physical life of the mother is at risk. That is simply not true.
It's not true at all.
Yeah, I looked at multiple stories on this letter, and it's all over. You grab one of the TV stations' news sites or the newspapers or business journals or any of those. You will see that story.
Yeah.
Where there's a doctor who says, I had somebody whose lips are blue and struggling for breath, and
my
I had to
hands
send
are tied because of the law.
Right.
Blah, blah.
Assuming she's telling the truth, which is a stretch.
Yeah, that the case exists.
That the case even exists, or that the woman was about to die. Because she literally said, I had to send her across the state line to terminate her pregnancy, or she wouldn't be there to, let's even most generously say that was true.
Right.
It's probably not, but let's just, for the sake of argument, say that it's true. Missouri's law does not prevent that abortion.
Right.
It is very, very narrowed. You have to be able to show that the physical health of the mother. But when they say there are no exceptions, that's not true.
That's not true.
It's
Not at all.
just not true.
Right.
And so the extremists are not the laws that are in place now. The extremism is Amendment 3.
And it's also indicative not only of their ethical problems,
right,
in that they're supportive of this extreme abortion law, but also of their inability to properly read the law and operate their medical practice according to the law. If they're saying, well, the law prevents me from doing this life-saving work here, it's like, no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. So we've seen these stories where somebody died because of, the doctor said, well, if the law in Georgia or whatever didn't prevent me from doing this, I could have saved this woman who had an ectopic pregnancy.
It's just not true.
You killed that lady.
Right.
That's what happened there.
Precisely. All right. So once again, get that podcast. If you haven't subscribed to our podcast already, you can subscribe just to News Talk STL's podcast overall. You can specifically, if you'd rather just focus on one show, you can subscribe to Mike Ferguson in the morning. All right. Vice President Harris actually spoke with Donald Trump on the phone following that latest attempt on Trump's life.
The 2024 presidential nominees talked on the phone Tuesday afternoon. According to the White House, the vice president called to speak with Trump directly to express her gratitude that he is safe. It was described as a cordial and brief conversation. The call came one day after President Biden spoke with Trump. He too conveyed his relief that Trump was unharmed after a gunman was found near him on the golf course Sunday. Greg Clugston, the White House.
And brief and cordial. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Hey, any of you memers out there with access to AI voice, just make up a version of that phone call for me. I'm just curious. I'm just curious how you would interpret cordial and brief.
Okay, so while Donald Trump has been pretty outspoken praising the Secret Service for stopping this attempt on his life, and at least at the very, very least, the agent or agents who were the advanced people walking the golf course and spotted this absolutely did a great job. But there are other questions. Senator Marsha Blackburn was on Fox Business's The Evening Edit saying, yeah, that agent did a great job. But what about these other questions this raises?
Why weren't there drones? Why weren't there dogs? Why were they not going through and watching more closely?
I think those are fair questions.
Absolutely. And of course, if you are under the direct protection of these agents, you don't want to necessarily badmouth them, right? To the face. But I appreciate that there are other people who are kind of stepping up to ask the tough questions of them.
Yeah, I mean, in Pennsylvania, you've got the fact that the agents on the ground missed a gunman X number of feet away, which was not that far away.
Yeah.
And so absolutely you need to question. Well, we find out that a lot of the agents there weren't actually agents.
No.
They weren't trained for that.
Yeah. They were basically Homeland Security desk jockeys.
Right. or they were just trained in other areas,
Right.
and then in this one right here, the agents on the ground spotted what needed to be, but Senator Blackburn's pointing out very fair questions. You've got a problem, a breakdown in the process and in the system, which points to bigger pictures within the organization, because we know that the Secret Service bragged about focusing on things other than 100% the mission.
Yeah. I mean, they spotted him, but it was like 11 hours too late.
Yeah. 11 hours and 45 minutes too late.
Yes.
I mean, the question like drones and sensors and dogs and all that. I mean, that's, have you guys ever been in a situation where somebody with a high profile and federal protection is coming in or been involved? I've actually been in that situation at another radio station I was at. They come in and do a sweep. When the governor comes, I interviewed Governor Mike Parson a few years ago for my old TV show, Missouri Viewpoints. They came in and did a sweep of the studio. They came in and they checked everything. So that's the type of thing that somebody missed something. And it's not unfair to go, we want answers in this case. And this is not about Donald Trump for this question,
right?
Whether it is Joe Biden playing golf, Kamala Harris, going to do something recreational or giving a speech outdoors, whoever the next president could be, could it be Ron DeSantis? Could it be, I don't know, Gavin Newsom? I don't care who it is. The hole in the system needs to be fixed, whatever that is.
There's an interesting side note to this also, and Susie Moore could give a much better description on this. But from what I saw yesterday and from what Kathy mentioned to me last night, Governor DeSantis in Florida take priority over the FBI in a situation like this because it occurred in Florida.
Oh, really?
And that's what's encouraging about him saying, you know what, we're going to investigate. We're going to come out with our own conclusions on what went on here. And I think a lot of us are saying, okay, let's see how this compares to what the FBI does, because allegedly, because of the sheriff and everything else regarding the situation down in Florida, they take jurisdictional supremacy over the FBI. I'm sure Susie or someone else can fill us in on that.
Well, that's also in any situation, that's going to be a good check and balance, because if the feds come up with something, goes, oh, it was never, we actually did it all right. We're the heroes in this. And
we investigated ourselves and we found ourselves
we found ourselves doing great.
Great. Yeah.
It's a fox in the hen house.
And the Florida Bureau of Investigation, or whatever it's called down there, they go, yeah, no, we found something a little bit different. That's an excellent check and balance on this. Very smart of DeSantis. And I'm convinced that if this threat had come that close to a Democrat, he would have done the same thing.
I think so.
I
Definitely
really think he would have. Yeah. All right. Cardinals got their second win in a row over the Pirates last night. Lance Lynn gets the win. Final score was 3-1. Jordan Walker had a home run. It's almost like they should have left him up in the big leagues the whole year. Game 3 of that 4-game series starts at 6:45 tonight. Going to see Sonny Gray on the bump for the Cardinals against the Bucks.
And if you're going to the game tonight, don't forget Big City Matt Adams.
That's right.
Will have a retirement ceremony. He signed a 1-day contract with the Cardinals so he could retire as a Cardinal.
Just so he could retire as a Cardinal.
Nice.
So sit back, kick your feet out, stretch out, because you're going to have the whole section of the stadium to yourself.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Capriotti's, St. Louis's newest and best sandwich shop. Capriotti's menu doesn't stop. You won't have one favorite, you'll have many. For me, the lineup includes the hand-pulled homemade turkey, the Italian, the chicken parmesan, and the list goes on. Even the fries at Capriotti's are next level. Check them out and let me know how your list of favorites is shaping up. Capriati's Sandwich Shop is open from 9 to 9, 7 days a week at the corner of Manchester and McKnight in Rock Hill. Get more details, including how to impress at your next event with their great catering at capriatis.com.
Looking to enhance your outdoor space? Trust Lime Concrete Block, your local expert since 1947. From Vertiblock and retaining walls to ready-mix concrete and outdoor kits, we've got all your residential and commercial needs covered. As a family-owned business, we take pride in our A+ BBB rating and industry affiliations, with special discounts for military and first responders. Whether you're a homeowner, contractor, or distributor, make a decision set in stone. Call 314-638-9940 or visit our showroom today.
Attention St. Louis. The Republican Central Committee invites you to the annual Lincoln Reagan Days dinner. Join us Saturday, October 5th at the River City Casino for an evening of inspiration and insight with this year's special keynote speaker, J.J. Carell, retired U.S. Border Patrol, who served under Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden. Don't miss this opportunity to hear from a true expert in border security. For details and tickets, visit newstalkstl.com.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Congratulations to the awesome team at Connor Roofing for earning the 2024 National Best of the Best Award for Customer Satisfaction. Connor Roofing has now won back-to-back honors because they do outstanding work in all types of roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. We chose Connor Roofing without telling the owners, Rob and Kathy Connor. Their customer reviews are some of the best in the country. Please read them. Visit ConnorRoofing.com and request an estimate. Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor.
Columbo and Company.
Home or at work.
National news has dominated the headlines, but there's a lot going on locally that needs attention as we get closer to Election Day. We'll talk about it Wednesday. Missouri political insider Rodney Boyd at 2:20.
App Store. Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this dysfunctional radio station. It's The Right Mind Show with me, Todd Showalter, at 5 on Saturday. And, you know, speaking of dysfunctional, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, don't forget Flashback Friday coming up. Mm-hmm. And, of course, we think about Friday, but you got to be thinking about Thursday. Did you see there were a number of requests that came in on the Rumble chat box?
I did see a few of them, so I've got to write them all down.
Yeah,
Okay.
so there's a good one. I think in the next week or two, we need to do another one of those like themes.
Yes.
Because it was, how many months ago was it? It was TV theme songs
Yes.
from the 80s, and we had so much fun. I don't know because let's be thinking of one.
Okay.
So if you think of like a specific category or
Mhm.
theme from the 80s that we should try in the next couple of weeks,
Right.
I'm open to ideas.
Like, I mean, you got movie themes, you got one-hit wonders,
Yeah,
you got,
yeah.
you know, top, I guess, I don't know, top 10 or something like that
Yeah,
of a
how about
particular year.
hit songs from people who weren't actually singers?
Oh, wow.
Because there were like
There were a number of those,
actors
yeah.
and dancers who ended up.
I mean, Eddie Murphy had a couple songs that charted, didn't he?
Exactly. Don Johnson,
yeah.
Bruce
Mhm.
Willis,
Mhm.
and a bunch. So I don't know. Maybe there's something in there.
There's
we
something
can
in
do
there.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Pick one. Tell us.
Right. Let me just kind of address something. I keep going back to that conversation with Brandy Meeks just a second ago, and she told part of her story. You know, not just that she was a mother, reared 4 kids, but there was an unexpected pregnancy in her family, whatever that situation is. And I'm glad there are so many people now who are saying, "Listen, been there and done that."
Mhm.
You know, I'm sure I've told the story on the air before. I've told you guys, but when I was in high school, my mom mentioned casually in conversation to my brother and I over breakfast or lunch or whatever,
Randomly.
that she was adopted. We had no idea. And then she'd realized that she hadn't told us. It would just never come up in conversation. But it turns out that my mom, and she's talked about this, openly with people, that she was probably a prom night baby back in the 50s. And so had Planned Parenthood been around back then, had Margaret Sanger's, world vision taken hold the way it has now, my mom likely would not have made it, because we were told that the young woman who was, I think, 15 or 16 when she became pregnant with my mom, was pretty well off. So in all likelihood, mom would have never survived.
Right.
So she was adopted by a coal miner and his wife from West Virginia when my mom was like 2 days old. And those are my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Were my grandparents. They're now both passed on. So that resonates. That resonates.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As well.
My dad was he single parent home in the late 1930s, early 1940s, like basically post depression era. And my dad was a his child of a single mom, right? That's a horrible situation to be set in. If it was the equivalent situation today, there would be somebody from Planned Parenthood advocating for my grandma to get rid of my dad.
Yeah, well, for an added reason too.
Oh, well, yeah, because he's black.
Yeah.
they need fewer of the quote unquote human weeds.
That's what
running around the world.
That's literally what Margaret Sanger called Black Americans.
Oh yeah, and the Planned Parenthood has been culling us ever since.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah. So, and I mean, it's something that so many people relate to, but people are afraid or embarrassed to talk about. And I think the more that we talk about these things, my mom, getting ready to move to go be closer to my brother, has lived an extraordinary life. And to think that could have been snuffed out of convenience or embarrassment is beyond any politics or any particular vote.
We're talking about innocent human life.
Right.
That's the thing.
So check out that podcast with Brandy here in, I don't know, what do you think, still 2-3 hours? Something like that?
A couple hours.
Yeah, get that. And then hopefully those are the stories that relate to people's hearts. Even if they say, well, I think we're too extreme. Okay, well then let's talk about it again in another election cycle. But this ain't it, Chief. Not this one.
I am an atheist. I really am a liberal, but I'm also a conservative.
No matter your side.
I'm a Democrat. I'm just a bit angry, frustrated conservative.
No matter your inclination.
I'm probably a liberal, maybe more in the middle.
We're here for your place to talk about it.
I'm the progressive liberal Democrat that you said is afraid to call you. St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk. I'm sure we'll have a robust conversation.
News Talk STL.
Looking for top quality tactical gear and expert advice? Look no further than Discount Tactical, your one-stop shop for all things firearms and self-defense. Located in the heart of Warrenton, we've been serving the community for 3 years with our friendly, professional, and knowledgeable staff. From custom AR builds and silencers to the largest selection of parts, we've got you covered. Self-defense weapons, SBRs, knives, ammo, custom holsters, weapon lights, optics, and body armor. Discount Tactical. Online at discounttacticalarmory.com or stop by today and gear up with confidence.
Never paint